Happy Jason Voorhees Day, nasties.
Oh, nice one.
Jason Voorhees, by the way, not the killer in the first Friday the 13th. Random factoid for you, everybody.
Happy Friday the 13th.
It is Friday, September the 13th. Thanks a lot for joining us on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. It's the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Reid with Jay Milne.
Hi.
He's Jay. We're with you for the next 3 hours. We'll have some good chats with some people today. We want to, throughout the course of the show, obviously we're going to have a lot of Oilers stuff. We do have some chat about them here right off the top. Of course, we'll be talking a lot about the Elks. And, hey, we want to be as local as possible, so we will have a really interesting U of A guest today as well. Dustin, our boss, is going to join us from Vancouver. Where
he was hard to get.
Yeah, he was reluctant to come on the show.
He was a real pain.
Yeah, I think because I made that crack that he couldn't fix the air conditioner. Luckily, he fixed the hole in the roof while it was raining yesterday or the other day, so that was nice. All coming up over the next 3 hours. We welcome you to participate. The EST inbox, 780-218-9999. You can jump into the nasty chat on YouTube and email Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Check out the show. No, you're already consuming the show, but you can tell your friends if they want to listen, because we're getting, the show's not even 2 weeks old, so we're getting a lot of how do we listen. EdmontonSportsTalk.com is one option. The iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn Radio app, or you can watch it on YouTube. Is it a slight change from perhaps some traditional means of consumption? Yes, but that's sort of the way things are going, and I found, as someone who is coming from a quote-unquote traditional radio station, a lot of people were consuming that station off an app or off their phone anyway, so you can do that with Edmonton Sports Talk too. It's all great. All right. We are going to do, why don't we do the Oil Understood right off the top for GCL Diesel? Providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years, and now a proud partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel. Diesel Understood.
Oh, feels so good when you say it like that.
Thank you. That's as long a pause as I thought I could get away with. So the Oilers, first of all, the Oilers play at the Young Stars Classic tonight. We've been talking about that off and on throughout this week. They play tonight, they play tomorrow night, they play Monday afternoon. Travis Dermott, and this has been rumored for several days, but the Oilers did officially sign it today, has been signed to the old PTO, the professional tryout. He's 27. He was with Arizona last year, and we're going to have the play-by-play voice, Matt McConnell, of the now Utah HC, but Arizona last year on the show. So he'll be able to dive deeper into this for us as well and tell us how Dermott played last year. He is from Newmarket. He did play with Knobloch and McDavid in Erie in the OHL about a decade ago, originally taken by the Leafs in the second round in 2015, 34th overall. So, Jay, it's a PTO. Fair to say PTO players are not coming in guns a-blazing with high expectations. Well, they might come in guns a-blazing, but the expectations might be muted from the fan base and perhaps even from the organization itself.
Well, I mean, he's been in the NHL for 7 years. He's bounced around. He's never stuck. So now this is all situational. I mean, this is a Oilers defense right now that is, one problem away from being really exposed and having issues. So this, a warm body would be, just fine. Now, having somebody with NHL experience, with experience to Knobloch, the head coach, I think that's obviously something, we've seen it here before. So maybe he feels he can get something more out of one of his former players. It's tough to say, but definitely needed and definitely willing, or worth it to take a shot and see how he could fit into this lineup.
You said it, worth a shot. And I think discussing the Oilers for this season, and of course, as we get closer to training camp, we'll have all the fun and do all the predictions and things like that. They should be good again. They should be very good again, I think. But I think you have to look at it and say, okay, in the Stanley Cup final, the ultimate series you can play in, the Oilers used a total of 7 defensemen, right? Because CC came out for a game and Desharnais came in. They used 7 defensemen. 3 of those defensemen are no longer on the team. So a team that went as far as you can go, I mean, they didn't win it, but that's the furthest series you can go. They went as far as you can go. Almost half the defense isn't back. CC's gone, Desharnais' gone, and then Broberg wound up with the offer sheet to St. Louis. So you have Ekholm, Nurse, and Kulak back on the left side. Now, Dermott shoots left. We're going to have to find out from McConnell if and how much he might have played the right side. Bouchard obviously is on the right side. So you have Ty Emberson, who we talked about with Drew Remenda a couple of days ago, and Drew spoke very glowingly of him.
Yeah.
Now, again, limited experience, and San Jose was willing to trade him. Drew said because they needed someone a little older like Ceci to maybe just have more experience and a little more cachet in the locker room. But it's still the skill set he described for Emberson was that of a third-pairing defenseman, in my mind. They have Troy Stetcher, who I think is a gamer and, plays his heart out. But to me, he's more of a third-pairing at best type defenseman. And certainly Josh Brown, who they also signed in the offseason, is a third-pairing defenseman type. Now, they have Philip Kemp perhaps pushing from the minors. You got Gleason and Deneen. They would more be on the left side. So I do think there's a shot there for Dermott, especially since he would likely be making the league minimum if and when he does sign. There might be a shot for him to hang around as 7, just because he has some experience, and I think he skates fairly well. But yeah, that's the concern for me is the Oilers on defense, and again, especially on the right side, you might have somebody who should be a third pairing defenseman playing second pairing minutes. Now that's okay, maybe 3 or 4 a game or penalty killer, things like that. But that's why I identify the defense as, if there was and I don't necessarily think it's a serious concern, but a concern on the team. And that's why I think Dermott coming in on a PTO, because he has NHL experience, like you said, might have a little better chance than some other PTO guys they brought in the past.
Like I said, it's a warm body where a warm body's needed. Let's put it bluntly. This is an area of concern heading into the season. This is an area where they need some depth. So absolutely. That's the beauty of these PTOs is you never know what you really how this player is going to fit in with that team inside the locker room. But it doesn't hurt to have another defender in the lineup in training camp. Yeah. Why not? I mean, by all accounts, Darnell Nurse is not going to be skating all that much. With his abdomen injury from last year, as it was reported that they might ease him into that. By Tommy. Our Tommy Gazzola broke that news. Why not? It really doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't hurt you. And maybe you find a way to get something out of this player, given his relationship with Knobloch from the past. Why not? They need it. It's clearly needed.
Yeah, well, and we know what with defense, you can never have enough. I mean, obviously you're limited by contracts on the salary cap. So that's some somewhat breaking Oilers news today. Travis Dermott is indeed officially announced as signing a professional tryout agreement with the Edmonton Oilers. And this was reported earlier today. Who had this on our morning show? Was it Tom?
What's that?
Bo Akey?
Yes.
Defenseman drafted last year, 56th overall.
Actually, I think it was your former colleague, Brennan Escott, that
did he put that out? Okay.
Yeah.
He's not, and then it was confirmed today by Colin Chalk, who's coaching the Oilers rookie team in Penticton. He will not play over this Penticton tournament. Shoulder problem, only played 14 games last year for Barrie. I think kind of a promising offensive type player. I mean, not at Bouchard's level, but in his draft year with Barrie, he had 47 points in 66 games, had 9 and 14 last year before he was derailed. So a little bit there from the Oilers and from the Penticton tournament, but Travis Dermott coming to town on a PTO. So they'll go through this rookie tournament. They'll have the medicals and the physicals and all that stuff on Wednesday. They'll hit the ice for training camp sessions on Thursday, and I say sessions because there's so many players. They have 2. They'll have one usually mid-morning and then one, kind of around noon or 1 o'clock. And how about this? There's already a preseason game next Sunday, 4 o'clock at Rogers Place against the Winnipeg Jets.
Wow.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Coming at you fast. Wow, it's crazy. And do you think it's more of a wow moment, given, obviously how far they went, how that took over the sports landscape in Edmonton and Alberta, to be quite honest, heck, include Canada, to have that team go on that run?
So they're going to have a preseason game September 22nd, and Game 7 was June 24th. So even if it hadn't gone even if one of the teams had swept, that would have been on June 15th or something like that. So a 3-month off season is not very long. And then we've kind of touched on this before, how difficult it is to repeat as Stanley Cup champions. No, Tampa Bay did it. The circumstances were a little different because they won the Stanley Cup, in September in Edmonton.
Yeah.
So that was the season that got shut down in March. The teams reconvened in late July in the bubbles in Toronto and Edmonton. And then, eventually all the teams came to the final teams came to Edmonton to finish it off. And then they won again the next year after a 56-game regular season. So I'm not suggesting it wasn't a grind. But then they made it back to the Stanley Cup final against the Avalanche after a full season. So that's pretty impressive.
Very.
Because I think there are a lot of different forms of fatigue. There's the fatigue of, I just had a really long day and I'm tired, but I can kind of immediately recover, in life and in sports. But I do think there's sort of a buildup. Look at Nurse. Still something lingering. And we've seen this from other teams. The summer wasn't quite enough for player X to get over some sort of a nagging thing, and it still went into next season. And you've heard players say that. I got into January and February, and I felt worse than I usually did, and that's because we went to the semifinal or the final the previous year, and it's that accumulated fatigue. And now Florida's going to face that this year, I think. And I think Edmonton to some extent. I mean, they've been, last 3 years, they've been third round, second round Stanley Cup final. It's a long time. I wonder how it's going to feel, and I know they're professional players and they've been doing this all their lives, but I wonder, and I doubt McDavid and Draisaitl will play the first game. Who knows? The Oilers' first line in that first preseason game might be Henrique, Janmark, and Brown. Whoever it is. Okay, less than 3 months ago, we were in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. We kind of recovered and got back out skating, and now... Oh, great. It's a game against the Jets at 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and I don't know who half their players are.
Life comes at you fast.
But I think is the season too long even from a fan perspective?
I've said it for a long time that I think, 82 games.
And we love sports and we love hockey.
Well, I mean, the worst is baseball. Like, that's absurd. 160-some games.
Right.
Why?
Well, they play almost every day.
Why?
And then spring training's in February, so they'll finish October, November. Yeah,
like and it's not even necessary, right? Like, they could condense that schedule quite a bit, cut off at least a third of that season.
Well, you'd cut off that much.
120
Well, this
games.
is a totally other conversation.
It is, and I mean, listen, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Surely many a times on this show, money, 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 money. That's what a lot of this is about.
If you were to ask me what's the ideal length for an NHL regular season, I would probably say 70 games. You could eliminate a couple games a month. You could, which I think would allow for more rested players in the regular season, maybe fewer back-to-backs, better quality of games in the regular season. I think the 100-point plateau would be even more meaningful in 70 games than it is with 80 or 82. Certainly 50 goals would become even, not, of course it's hard to do that anyway, but plateaus like 50 and 20. And don't forget, when Rocket Richard got 50 and 50, that was the whole season, right? He did, when he got 50 goals, that was the whole season, which was pretty amazing. So, but yeah, you're right. They're never shortening the regular season. And I asked Bettman, I got to interview Bettman during the playoffs, and I asked him about the length and how long it's going on. And he's like, well, where do we put the games? He said, so you can complain about the games going into the third or fourth week of June. If we start earlier, I can't remember exactly how we worded it, but some owners, especially in the States, are going to complain against, we don't want to go up against 14 weeks of the NFL. 10 or 11 is enough for whatever it turns out to be. So they kind of can't win either way.
Yeah, but you look at the NFL. They even expanded their schedule. They expanded their preseason schedule. It's just about money. This has nothing to do with anything but the bottom dollar. Player safety,
which we're going to talk about.
Give me a break. None of these leagues care. You must understand that. There's no league that actually, they may say they care about player safety. They may do all the best they can. But player safety is about here. Making money is out of the camera.
And we're going to talk about player safety because a pretty significant player got hurt last night in the Miami-Buffalo game. It is Friday the 13th, so we're going to jump into our off-topic topic for William Huff. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout, 780-454-4536. So I mentioned Jason Voorhees off the top, the killer in the Friday the 13th series, except the first one. It was his mom. That was the twist in that one. So tell us your favorite horror movie villain. I know I have a few options off the top of my head. There are certainly some classics. Maybe there's somebody from a more modern film. Maybe it's the VHS tape from, was that The Grudge? The Ring. The Ring had the VHS tape. The Grudge had something else.
You see, okay, before I say this, hit us up on the EST inbox or in the nasty chat, your favorite horror movie villains. We're going to, as you all know by now, we're going to get back to this.
Yeah.
Time and time again. So you will always, you'll always get noticed, and we can talk about it if we're in a segment or whatnot. I got to be honest though. Horror movies, I just don't do.
Okay.
I did. There was always, there was a part of the time in my life, junior high, when you get together on a Friday night, and of course you wanted to watch a scary movie for some deranged reason. Yeah. But, so the poltergeists and that kind of stuff. One that really stuck out for me, and it still sticks out to this day, was Candyman. Do you remember Candyman?
I didn't watch it, but I know of the legend.
Oh, you say, like, you look in front of a mirror and you say Candyman 3 times, and then Candyman appears.
And he's there.
It was terrifying.
Yeah, I know. I never watched that one, but I know that's one. And I remember at Blockbuster, that's one people would always want to rent. Oh, let's get Candyman. Yeah. Haven't we seen it 4 times? Well, let's watch it again.
Okay. But, obviously you think of the Jasons of the world and...
everybody named Jason.
Yeah. It's plagued me my whole life.
Just creepy.
It's creepy. But there's plenty out there. Send them in. Let's talk about this. It's Friday the 13th. Let's get a little spooky. And we're gonna jump into some quarterback injury talk here. We talked about dual threat quarterbacks yesterday. Obviously, awful thing happened last night. You never like to see that. It doesn't matter if it's your team. It's not like that. That was bad. We're going to break down that injury last night and exactly what that means moving forward, what that means with the NFL. There's a lot of people that chimed in on that in the professional world as well. But we're going to get to that after the break. The Coob, Zachary, you're up.
Travis Dermott has officially signed a PTO with the Edmonton Oilers. Dermott, 27, was drafted by the Leafs back in 2015 and has suited up for the Canucks and most recently the Arizona Coyotes. And hockey is back. The Edmonton Oilers rookies take on the Canucks rookies down in Penticton. Puck drop for that goes at 8:30. And Wayne Simmons has been introduced as the Philadelphia Flyers Community Relations Ambassador and Hockey Operations Consultant for the upcoming season. The former Flyer played 8 of his 15 seasons in the NHL with the team, recording 378 points through 584 games. It's the Argos against the Lions in the Lone CFL game tonight. That goes at 8 p.m. and ESC's very own Dustin Nielsen will be on the call for that. In the American game, Jordan Love, Jalen Reed, and Marshawn Lloyd have been listed as questionable for Sunday's game for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers take on the Colts this weekend after losing to the Eagles last week. It's Tiger Woods undergoing injury on his back for the 6th time in the last decade. After this one, he'll need 2 to 3 months to recover. Just after the break, Reid Wilkins and Jay Milne will talk about Tua Tagovailoa's unfortunate injury and talk more about quarterbacks. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date.
Come get your game on at The Ranch. The Ranch lets it all hang out with a championship caliber design, premier conditions, and above all, a fun laid-back experience. Get top-notch service and unmatched value every time you play at The Ranch. Think you have what it takes to go low? The best value for your golfing buck is always The Ranch. The Ranch Golf and Country Club. 10, 50, 100, and 200 round packs on sale. TheRanchGolf.com.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki with like a giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Lynyrd Skynyrd with like an angel band. And I'm in the crowd hammered drunk.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
At A&W, you can start the morning off right with a regular coffee and an egger of your choice for just $4.99. Bacon and egger or sausage and egger on a seeded bun or an English muffin? The choice is yours. But we know it'll be tasty either way. And to make matters even more delicious, this offer is available all day. But don't snooze on this deal. An egger and a regular coffee for only $4.99 is a limited time price. Available at participating A&W restaurants in Greater Edmonton.
Get ready, Edmonton. The moment you've been waiting for is here. It's time to celebrate the best of the best with the Estes, as we honor everything from Edmonton Sports Talk's incredible first year. Join us on September 17th at Metro Cinema for an unforgettable night of excitement, laughter, and recognition. Tickets are just $10. Secure your spot by emailing Matt at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. And after the show, let's keep the party going at Hudson's White Ave for the official after party. Mark your calendar, grab your tickets, and get ready to celebrate the best moments of EST. It's the Estes, September 17th.
All right. Elks on a bye week. Next Saturday, they will host Winnipeg. 2 weeks from today, they will be in Winnipeg. That's Friday, September 27th. You can join us at Century Casino on Fort Road. It's an Edmonton Sports Talk watch party, and we'd love for you to join us. We're going to do our show from there from 3 to 5. You and Maddie will do the Green and Gold kickoff show from 5 to 6, and then you'll be back after the game for the Green and Gold postgame show. That is going to be fun, and another big game for the Elks.
This is crazy. There's a lot of good stuff coming in already. Any Stephen King movie. I mean, It.
Oh, Pennywise.
Pennywise.
And so the Tim Curry Pennywise from the miniseries in the 80s, or the Alexander Skarsgård, that was his name, right? Skarsgård from the
old
movies.
one.
The old one.
The old one.
The miniseries with John Ritter.
Yeah, that was, oh, yes, that's right. That was terrifying.
Tim Curry played Pennywise. And you could also, would his performance as Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show count as a horror movie villain? I guess not. Too campy.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, really? You haven't seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, I haven't. I think when I was in grade 10, the grade 12 drama did the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It's not actually horror.
You know what I
did? It just has horror in the title. You played football?
No, Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, you did. Were you the plant?
No, I went for the lead. which was the character, the flower shop owner,
played by Rick Moranis in the film.
And I got
Seymour.
I didn't get that. Feed me, Seymour. I got every other part. Like, I was the dentist. I was the wino on the streets.
That's awesome.
So I was Steve Martin's role. That was fun. That was a great time. Andrea in the in the EST inbox. My dad's birthday is today.
Happy birthday.
The 13th. Stepmom, August 13th. And their anniversary, July 13th. A lot of 13s going on.
A lot of 13s. So they're not always going to be Friday the 13th, but every so often you'll have one on Friday the 13th.
This is true. A lot of people hate horror films.
They don't want to even participate. But that's okay.
No. They're still participating because, unfortunately, we've all had to watch them, even if you don't like them. Hey guys, as like you, this is from Kamloops, Jay. I hate horror movies, and when I was a kid in the 80s, a friend had a stayover birthday party, and we watched Pet Sematary and Elm Street. My God, I was too scared, so I was an idiotic kid and walked home in the dark. Oh no, because I didn't want to stay over. Worst walk in pitch black I have ever done. To this day, I cannot watch either movie, and I'm freaking 49.
Well, Freddy's an iconic one. Freddy Krueger from the Elm Street series.
Yeah.
He'd be up there with the clawed hands, whatever they were. All right. We'll see which one gets the most votes, maybe. You don't have to track.
I'll keep track.
But kind of casually. You'll have a sense for it as well. All right, so last night, first of all, Jay, I had to run an errand, and then by the time I got the TV on, there was 3 minutes left in the first half. It was 24-7 Buffalo. Miami was on that lethargic drive to end the first half, which resulted in a field goal. And then Tua Tagovailoa got hurt, the Dolphins quarterback, knocked out with a concussion, which has been an issue from him. Now, he is a quarterback who can move around and can scramble. Here is the one and only Jay Milne, something he said yesterday on this very program.
If you are a running quarterback, if you want to be a quarterback that runs, if your starting fantasy quarterback runs, pray that he knows how to slide.
He sort of slid head first. Not really.
You know, it's something I've heard this before where, you know, quarterbacks should go to some form of baseball training, literally, to learn how to slide. Not everybody can just slide. That is. I'm dead serious. Like, you think sliding into first or sliding home, that's not always the easiest thing to do. Now, obviously, we were just talking about dual threat quarterbacks yesterday, so you find the ones that have longevity, like they will get down. Josh Allen's a little bit of a different animal because he's just a big fella. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, in regards to Tua, this is his third diagnosed concussion in the last 24 months. He also had one while he was in college at Alabama. Des Bryant was calling on the NFL to go ahead and do the right thing, as in to say, should Tua play football professionally anymore? When I saw that last night, it's gross. It's disgusting. Nobody wants to see that, you know, hands clenched, looking for the ground when you're lying on it. You know what I mean? Nobody likes to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Unfortunately, it's a product of the game.
Here's Antonio Pierce. He's the head coach of the Raiders, another team in the NFL, and he commented on Tua today.
I'll be honest, I'll just tell him to retire. It's not worth it. It's not worth to play the game. I haven't witnessed anything like I've seen that's happened to him 3 times. Scary. You can see right away the players' faces on the field. You can see the sense of urgency from everybody to get Tua help. I just think at some point, you know, he's going to live longer and he's going to play football. Take care of your family.
First of all, interesting comment for a coach of another team to comment on another franchise's player to tell him to retire, but it's in the whole context of player safety. Do I think Tua's going to retire? I don't think so. I think players want to come back from injury and prove they can play. I mean, obviously, I don't know the guy. Miami's a long way from Edmonton, but
I would be surprised if he decided to continue playing football.
Would you really?
I would be. After his last 2 that happened in the same season, there were discussions with his family on if he should continue. Now, I get it. Everybody's different. If you and I were to bang our heads against this table, we would both have different reactions instantly. We would both have different reactions tonight and next week. Everybody, literally body, is different. Zach Collaros had head injuries in the CFL.
Yeah.
He seems to be doing just fine. The thing you have to think about, the thing you cannot overlook, and I just want everybody to know this is a tough topic to talk about, because this is somebody's life. This is somebody with a family. This is somebody with a kid, with children, and as a father and as a son. I mean, you do not ever want to complicate your life further down the road. And I honestly, I just don't know how, as a family, they would want to continue down here. He's made enough money for him and his children to be, and his children's children to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. The competitor in him is what's going to want to keep going. Now you ask, okay, so who, have people done this? Yes. Luke Kuechly, who was a all-pro, year after year, all-pro linebacker for the Carolina Panthers. If he would have had a full career, like first ballot Hall of Famer, no question. He was changing the game at linebacker. 3 concussions in 3 seasons. He retired at the age of 28. Well below his, what would his playing career would have been. Washington Commander Jordan Reed retired at 30 in 2021. Doctors advised him against continuing to play. So, and I know that we have another clip, and this does come down to if a doctor is going to look at this situation and say, look, this is it.
Do you want to play it?
Sure. Well, why don't we go ahead?
So this is his college coach, Nick Saban.
And Tua is such a great competitor, but I think this has to be a medical decision. I mean, you have to let medical people who understand the circumstances around these injuries, these concussions, and when you have multiple concussions, that's not a good sign. And I think Tua and his family and everyone else should listen to all the medical evidence to make sure that you're not compromising your future health-wise by continuing to play football. But I think that's a medical decision. I don't think that's something for me to speculate on, and I know a lot of people are doing it, and more power to them. But I think the family should not be influenced by that. Tua should not be influenced by that. It should be all based on, medical professionals.
And that's from the Pat McAfee show, to give credit for that. So are you along those lines though, that doctors? Well, I mean, doctors are going to be involved, but that they might just say, "Hey, man, like you shouldn't play. You can't play."
Well, it really has the risk of affecting you for the rest of your life, and possibly, I mean, when concussions were first starting to become a hot topic, and the term CTE was first brought to light, you found that a lot of brains that were examined of people that had taken their own lives, former professional athletes, mostly football, found that there was a lot of issues in their brain that were caused by repetitious blows to the head. It's not hearsay. It's not for debate. It's a fact. You're damaging your brain when that happens. There is irrevocable damage that happens every time he's taken those. I mean, I'll be honest. That hit that happened last night where Damar Hamlin, who's another crazy story, right?
Right.
Literally, like, almost cushioned him coming in. Like, he didn't lay a finger on him, but Tua went in head first and bent his neck sideways. That should not result in a concussion under normal circumstances. One should be able to withstand that. You can also ask, why didn't he slide? Is he in the right mindset going into a game, period? That's the questions that you don't know. Nobody knows. But yeah, there's obviously doctors involved. There'll be doctors involved for quite a while. I mean, you saw Mike McDaniel, for those that watched the game, come out and give Tua a kiss on the head, and he told reporters after the game that he said to Tua in that moment that you are the quarterback of your family, right? So you get the sense of where people are leaning, because it's hard to see. And it's hard to see such a young talent go through that. It really is. It's your life is in jeopardy, literally. So where this goes from here, nobody knows. But it's a family decision. Like Saban says, it's all doctors. Well, doctors can say you're cleared to play, and I don't want to get into a debate, but doctors can be wrong by a small percentage too. This is a family decision, in my opinion, that they have to come to terms with and make a decision that's best for their family.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, too, because, I mean, you talk about sliding, you talk about sliding foot first, but we all also praise the quarterback or the athlete who dives the last yard into the end. I know that wasn't the situation there, and they were having a lousy game, but he scrambled on that play to get a first down.
Yeah, you praise the tough guy.
You praise the tough guy. Yeah. Well, I mean, even in hockey, we think fighting still gets a cheer and gets people excited. Remember when Cassian's helmet popped off in the preseason a couple of years ago, and his head hit the ice?
It's a gladiator sport.
Yeah.
We're all viewing gladiators.
And so then that's another thing, too. How much as we as viewers, as fans, do we want to live with knowing that something very, very tragic or long-term debilitating could happen to the players, even as we're celebrating their effort or their toughness or their braveness? 780-218-9999 is the EST inbox. The Nasty Chap is Nasty Chap. This is like one guy.
You're a nasty chap.
Somebody
yourself.
just called themselves the Nasty Chap. The Nasty Chat is flowing on YouTube. We will go back to the off-topic topic. I will have my top three. We will talk more about Tua and concussions all as we move along. We'll check in with what's going on at Claire Drake Arena. It's the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Here's the Coop.
Travis Dermott has signed a professional tryout with the Edmonton Oilers. He was drafted in the second round back in 2015 by the Maple Leafs and has played with the Leafs, Canucks, and most recently with the Coyotes. Hockey's back. The Edmonton Oilers rookies take on the Canucks rookies down in Penticton. Puck drop for that goes at 8:30. Wayne Simmons has been announced as a Philadelphia Flyers community relations ambassador and hockey operations consultant for the upcoming season. The former Flyer played 8 of his 15 total seasons in the NHL with Philadelphia. It's Christian McCaffrey guaranteed to be out for this weekend's game due to a calf injury. McCaffrey did not play in Week 1 for the 49ers, and head coach Kyle Shanahan says that they have considered placing him on the injury reserve. In the lone game for the CFL tonight, it's the Argos against the Lions out in BC. EST's very own Dustin Nielsen will be making the call for that one. In just a moment, Reid Wilkins and Jay Milne will be joined by the head coach of the U of A Pandas. And that's coming up next. I'm Zachary Kubish. And now you're up to date.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Few of us can say that we're over 60 and still hot, but Mr. Mike's Burger can. And to celebrate over 60 years of Mr. Mike's famous burger, you're invited to taste history for only $8.99 at Mike Burger Madness. Savor the original flame-grilled Mike Burger on their signature garlic French loaf for a limited time. Dine-in only price of just $8.99. Sides extra. It's Mr. Mike's Mike Burger Madness, and you'd be mad to miss it. Offer ends September 30th. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
At Mind360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
All right. What do you got?
Just, in the nasty chat, love all the commentary on this. And for those wondering my position on this, I 100% do not think Damar Hamlin is at all responsible for any of this. In fact, he could have delivered much more of a blow to Tua, held back. I feel he held back a bit. So
are people blaming?
Well, you know how these things work, right? Everybody's trying to find a scapegoat and blame everything just because it's a really awkward, terrible situation. And Justin, as a lifelong Dolphins fan, I never want to see him take the field again. That's tough to say as a lifelong Dolphins fan, but at some point, compassion and care and longevity in life. There's more to life. Yeah, there really is. And like I said, his kids could be taken care of. So anyways, we could beat that all day.
No, but we'll keep talking about that. Yeah. We got a few topics already on the go. That one's a serious and kind of sobering one. And we got the fun off-topic of your favorite horror movie villain. And I'm pleased to talk to this gentleman again. He's back with the U of A Pandas hockey team as their head coach, Howie Draper, checking in. Howie, you're on with Reid and Jay. How are you doing?
Hey, good, guys. How are you all?
Good. I'll start with our fun topic, and I know coaches don't have a lot of time to do things like watch movies, so maybe it's something from when you were a younger guy. Do you have a favorite horror movie villain? Freddy, Jason, somebody like that?
Oh, jeez. You know what? I was never much into the horror stuff. The first movie that pops into my mind is The Exorcist. So, I guess I got to say it's Satan all the way, right?
That's a good one. Any youngster whose head can spin 360 degrees is very dangerous. Hey, great to have you on the show. The last time we talked, you were off to the PWHL. You did spend a season with the New York franchise. Now you're back with the Pandas, but just maybe give us a little bit of reflection or a thought here on the experience in the PWHL.
Well, I think first and foremost, it was awesome to be a part of that wave. So impressed by what the PWHL has done in terms of putting together a pretty significant league, I think, in a very short period of time. Of course, not one that's void of some issues which would come up, I think, anytime you start something new. I was really impressed with the support that we got from the media, all over North America. The fan support was outstanding. It was really refreshing and exciting to see everybody get behind female hockey and put a real viable product out there. It was great.
Howie, you coached from 1997 all the way up to 2023. 14 Canada West titles, 8 national championships. January 10th of 2020, you were the first coach to get to 600-plus wins since the addition of women's hockey to U Sports. I mean, legendary stuff. Now, that being said, you went away last year, and now you're back. So in that time, because given that you've been there since 1997, you had a lot of procedures, planning in place. Your recruiting plan, your off-season strategy, your scheduling with your team. Given that you were gone for that last year and coming back to it, is everything still the same? Does the office still look the same? Or were things changed and now you have to get that back? Or is it you can just get right back into the groove of things?
You know what? I think the staff that took over for me, Darren Bilichuk and Kennedy Ganser, who's a past player and captain of the Pandas, Izzy Cropper, who's now gone across the river to help coach at Grant McEwen. I mean, they did an outstanding job. They were very sensitive to the fact that I could very well be back. So no, they didn't do a lot of remodeling in my office. Sounds like, I mean, they brought their, they certainly put their own fingerprints on the program here and there. And I think, you know, I'm actually now extracting some information from them about some of the great things that they did and brought in that was new, and we'll be utilizing those, you know, some of those changes this year. So it's they did an outstanding job. I'm just very, very pleased that I had such a great staff around me 2 years ago that could take over and do some great things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jay mentioned a lot of the success you had, which I know you spread that around to everybody. And I mean, pretty good season last year. They went to Game 3 of the Canada West Final, so just missed out on a trip to Nationals. And it sounds like, Howie, and you'll know your own roster better than me, but it sounds like, and I know with U Sports, there's a little bit of ebb and flow, maybe peak years or reloading years, but I believe you got 5 fifth years and 6 fourth years. That leads me to believe this should be a pretty challenging or a pretty competitive year for the Pandas hockey team. How do you look at it?
Yeah, I think so. I think the experience is really going to benefit us moving through the year. I mean, we've got experience in net, a little bit younger there, but certainly we've got some returning goaltenders that I'm quite optimistic are going to do great for us. We've got experience on the back end, and we've got experience up front. You know, like it's when I played for the Golden Bears years and years ago, it was interesting how, you know, certainly the leaders, the 50-year players are the ones that drove the engine and helped steer the group, I think, when we needed to be steered in the right direction. And we've got a solid group of leaders that I think can take us in the course, help us chart a course towards nationals for sure this year.
Howie Draper, head coach of the Pandas hockey team, joining us today on the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. The Lajoie family, what's it like to have your old Golden Bears teammate Serge on the coaching staff this year?
Oh, it's outstanding. I mean, he's Serge. I mean, how could you not bring a guy like that into the fold? He's got such a tremendous amount of playing experience. Obviously, he was an outstanding player, and he won a bunch of individual awards. And as a player back with the Bears, when I had a chance to hang out with him then, but since then, his coaching resume has been outstanding. Not only coaching for the Bears for a period of time and winning a national championship, but coaching in the WHL and you know, being able to pull from that wealth of knowledge. The thing about female hockey is we're in the bubble a little bit, so we don't get the opportunity to interact with some of the greatest minds. There's some really strong minds, but some of the greatest minds out there in on the male side of things. So with Serge, he brings a little bit of that. He's going to be helping us out with skills as well, because he was a very skilled player himself. And we're just really lucky to have him on board this year.
And is not Izzy Lajoie the captain of your team?
She is the captain. Yeah, she has been for a couple of years now. So, you know, obviously she's got a little bit of that gene, that whatever it is that gives her that ability to be a good leader. And she's done a great job for us. And she's one of the reasons why the team did as well as they did last year too. I think when we left, there was a real challenge there, and them being able to transition from one coaching style to another. And sure, a lot of what we did in the past were in place, but there's always an adjustment period, I think, when you're changing things up a little bit like we did last year. And she was a big part of marrying the new coaching staff with the returning players and helping ensure that it all moved forward in a positive way. So she's, well, you know what? I wish we had her for another 5 years because she's surely going to be missed after this year.
Howie, the Claire Drake Arena, I mean, that is one of the gems of Canada West, if not U Sports, in terms of hosting events and big time events there. The fellas were just talking about it on another show earlier yesterday, I believe. Reid, you guys were talking about some of the memories of the Oilers games there against the rookie games against the Bears and whatnot. That facility was built in 1959. I mean, obviously it's special. It's the fans are right on top of you. A few years back, there was talk and there was an ask about funding for a potential South Campus down by Foot Field, a new arena to be built. That is all but gone away from what I understand. Is there anything that you've heard about or that you would know about that would suggest that they may build a new facility down the road at South Campus?
Nothing new, Jay. You know how things work. We've got a limited amount of cash at the university level, and things move so quickly and expenses increase so dramatically over a short period of time that I think we just hopefully one time at some point in the future we can have a large chunk of cash that we can pull the trigger quickly and get things moving. And it's something that I think would be nice, certainly from a recruitment standpoint. Hey, like, I love Claire Drake Arena, and it is a very special place. And in fact, when we were talking about a new facility, I was kind of pitching the idea that maybe Claire Drake could become the home of the Pandas, because I think it's probably a pretty good size for female hockey. The faculty at the time didn't like that idea. They didn't think that would be very politically correct, but I think having a new facility might help with recruitment. It might help with just getting a few more fans into the building, generally speaking, just a nicer environment. But you know what? Lots of ghosts in Claire Drake, and it's a very special place to be. And I tell you, I'm very, very pleased to be back in it. I really missed it.
Howie, in a former life, I used to be I used to run our family business, Yvonne's Furniture. And at one point, you would come into the store, and I recognized you, and I said, "Hey, you're Howie Draper," and we had a great discussion, and you were pleasant and lovely. But you never bought furniture from me. Can you? Do you recall the experience? And can you give me any tips or pointers as to how I could have properly or maybe closed the deal properly?
Yeah, well, if you led by saying that I was really lovely, then that might have been the first.
A little bit of a weird one. Strike one.
Just go the other way. But no, I can't say. And to be honest, I can't remember that, Jay. It doesn't. Don't take that personally. I can't remember a lot of things that happened to me over the course of my life because I've had a lot of concussions in the past. But no, I'm sorry I didn't. My guess is that. I'm just going to hang that on my wife at the time. I think she probably didn't like whatever it was.
She was probably thinking,
face it, she made all the decisions.
Oh, God, he has to hot talk hockey again on a Saturday afternoon. I can never get away from this.
Right.
Well, Howie, despite your furniture buying habits, we wish you all the best this season. So preseason game tonight at McEwen, and then you got your home opener Friday, right. October 4th. That all sounds right?
Yeah, that's it. Bang on. Hey, and hey, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate being on, and thanks for supporting female hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. Love talking to you, Howie, and we'll have some of your players on throughout the season as well. Good luck tonight. Have a good game.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Take care.
Howie Draper, longtime coach of the Pandas hockey team. As Jay, we all know, incredibly successful PWHL experience last year with New York, and now coming back to the U of A. And they, like you said, they're looking good. They got a lot of 4th and 5th years, and they've got a really good program going.
It'd be
there.
hard to say he's not the most legendary coach in women's hockey in Canada. Like, who else?
I honestly don't know enough, but I mean, U Sports, it's unprecedented what he's able to do.
600 plus wins.
And they were good. I believe like the Pandas were good early, right? It was they and a few, and other programs have caught up, and I think it's more competitive now, but they were good right out of the gate, late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, great to have Howie on the show, and that's going to be one thing we do. We're going to talk U of A post-secondary sports on the Reid Wilkins Show. Okay, we are going to keep going with the off-topic topic. I have my top 3. I hope you like hearing me nitpick about language. We got a quick break, and Zach with a sports update before we bring you back.
Travis Dermott has officially signed a professional tryout with the Edmonton Oilers. The 27-year-old played 50 games last year down in Arizona for the Coyotes. And hockey is back tonight when the Oilers rookies take on the Canucks rookies over in Penticton. Puck drop for that goes at 8:30. Wayne Simmons has been announced as the Philadelphia Flyers Community Relations Ambassador and Hockey Operations Consultant for the upcoming season. The former Flyer played 8 of his 15 total seasons in the NHL for Philadelphia, playing a total of 584 games for the club. In the CFL, it's the Argos taking on the Lions tonight in the lone CFL game. ESD's very own Dustin Nielsen will be making the call on that one. Kickoff for that is at 8. Over in the American game, Christian McCaffrey is out for this weekend's matchup for the 49ers. McCaffrey didn't play in week 1, and Kyle Shanahan said that the team has considered placing him on the injury reserve. Also on the injury reserve over in Green Bay, Jordan Love, Jalen Reed, and Marshawn Lloyd has been listed as questionable. My apologies, not on IR just yet. The Packers take on the Colts after losing against the Eagles last week. In just a moment, Reid and Jay will be back on the Reid Wilkins Show. Coming up after this is Reid's top 3 for Fuge sausages. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to jameshbrown.com.
Conveniently located 10 minutes west of St. Albert, Wheeler's RV Storage will provide you with safe, secure storage for your RV, boat, or whatever you need to store. Open 7 days a week with gated keypad access and extra large stalls. Now is the time to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months and get 1 month free. Now's the time to go to WheelersRVStorage.com. That's Wheeler's RV Storage. Safe, secure storage. Visit them today at WheelersRVStorage.com.
Fuse Sausage makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Get your 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in store at 6736 99th Street, or use the code EST when shopping online at fusesausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders over $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Fuse Sausage. You can't beat our meat.
Going into the weekend, Nasties. How are you doing? Thanks for listening. We're with you until 6 o'clock tonight. This is the 9th episode of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. been great so far. I look forward to the day also where the episode count is just too high to remember. That'll be fun too.
It'll be a great memory and a great time, Reid.
It's Winston Churchill.
Thank you.
I don't know if that's what you were doing.
I don't know what I was doing. It's Friday.
I like doing voices.
Friday.
It's
I'm
fun when you
excited.
do voices.
I
It's
get
Friday.
to get to go home. I get to see my little ones. Get to have a great weekend.
And Coop.
See, here's the thing people don't understand, okay? And I don't want to get into too much detail about my life, but beforehand, when I was in furniture, weekends are go time. You do not take weekends off.
Was the store open Sunday too?
7 days a week. 363 days a year.
So that would include Sunday, yes.
That would. I never had weekends. Never. I've never had a weekend off. So last weekend, well, it's been a bit of the summer of Jay since our stores shut down at the end of May, but
right.
It's fun to have a weekend to look forward to. It's an experience I've never had.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, and I haven't been off before 8 p.m. for about 11 years.
It's crazy what everybody, it's different to people, but it is the truth. It's amazing to have a weekend to look forward to.
Well, I congratulate you.
Thank you, Reid. That's nice. Our off-topic topic today, as Reid said at the top of the show, is your favorite horror movie villains. Now, that is due to the date. If you don't know and if you're not aware, it's Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Here's some that came in on the EST inbox. Pork Belly Addict. Love that. I love pork belly.
I thought that was the horror movie villain.
Yeah,
first.
it could be.
I'm a pork belly addict. I'm going to slice me some pork belly.
Pork belly is great, but it you really know what you're eating. Like it's you really got to get in there. Just do it. Don't think about it too much. Just do it. Pork Belly Addict says, "Afternoon boys, my fave is Jigsaw from Saw."
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Big Slam Nasty. We met him earlier, actually. I don't do horror movies, but when I was 5 to 6 years old, the Green Goblin in Spider-Man scared the crap out of me.
He is kind of creepy.
It is, yeah. As a young kid, like certain things scare you. Like I was terrified of that clown from It. To be honest, it would still scare me to see like a creepy clown.
Imagine if one walked in.
This is a really good one because this is not a traditional, you wouldn't traditionally think of this character as, a crazy, bad horror or villain in a horror movie. But Bone says, I'll go off the board and say Kathy Bates in Misery scared me more than anyone else.
That is a great suggestion.
Isn't it?
Because that is definitely, I guess it's not a horror movie in terms of blood and guts and supernatural stuff or ghosts or whatever.
When she breaks out that...
Yeah, but the situation the James Caan character is in is horrific.
Terrifying.
And the famous scene with the ankle breaking.
Oh,
where they just show what? Yeah, she was that is an awesome suggestion.
Okay, KC, horror movie villain. There's not really a specific villain, but The Exorcist scared the crap out of me as a kid. That little girl possessed by a demon/devil was terrifying. I think right now, Exorcist is leading the chart.
Well, the girl, I can't remember her name. The girl in The Exorcist, Linda Blair was the actress, right? I can't remember the character's name.
She ended up taking her own life, if I'm not mistaken.
Did she?
I think there was some bad things that happened on the set of that movie, if I'm not mistaken, which I could be. Rip City Step, as always, chiming in.
Linda Blair is still alive.
Never mind then. Different movie. Rip City Step, Children of the Corn and The Omen. Nothing as frightening as creepy children. That is true.
That's a good one.
And there has been quite a few that have come in. Is it the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers?
I love Jeepers Creepers. The first one especially.
Here, man.
Great movie.
That just ruins a night. You want to ruin a night? Watch Jeepers Creepers. Like
Reagan McNeil was the name of the girl of Linda Blair's character in The Exorcist. She is 65 years of age, I think, alive and well.
We'll have to do a segment at one day. I'm getting a lot of questions. Who is Yvonne? What was Yvonne? What was your past life? We'll have to have a segment.
We'll have to get to know Jay a little bit. Because you I asked you about that, and you were like, I don't want to do too much. I've been on the Hangout. People know my story.
I just assumed nobody would give a rip.
No, people like to know who we are and what we've done. I have questions for. I'm not going to. I have a question for you that something needs to be explained, but I will not get into that today. So, really good. I'm pleasantly surprised with the contributions of the.
And you know what's nice, Reid? Every day, more and more people are reconnecting with you. like Joe. Welcome back to the airwaves, Reid. Missed you, brother. Joe.
Thank you. It's nice to hear from you. I missed doing it, though I also had a pretty nice summer. I went 6 weeks without working, but I knew I had this job. And as people I've mentioned, I mean, I turned 50, so, I'm fully middle-aged. So it was kind of nice to have a break. And as I said, I wasn't unemployed. I was practicing for retirement, and I found out I'm going to be quite good at it. So before we get into today's top 3 for food sausage, yesterday's top 3 was top 3 arcade games. So cabinet-style stand-up video games.
I was thinking Poltergeist. There was bad things that happened on that set.
Oh, I think the little girl from that film passed away.
Yes.
Okay. So I mentioned Dragon's
Thanks,
Lair,
Rip.
and it was Jason from Leduc.
Yeah.
Came in and brought me a copy of Dragon's Lair, which you can play on your Blu-ray player, because he texted that in yesterday that you can play it with your Blu-ray remote. And so he came in and he said, do you have a Blu-ray? I said, I don't have a dedicated Blu-ray player, but I have a PlayStation 4. And he said, yes, it should work. So, yeah, Don, was it Bluth, the Disney animator, animated this. So thank you. I'll get to try Dragon's Lair. That's pretty amazing. Thanks for bringing that in.
Oh, my gosh.
If you're watching on YouTube, we showed it, but I got the physical disc here, if you're listening, the physical Blu-ray copy of Dragon's Lair.
Very, very creative in the EST inbox. I'm laughing because there's some really, wow, I wouldn't have thought of that. But yeah, I get it. Reid, it's time for something that's presented by Fuge Sausages. And this one could be, hey, it's Friday. If we go off the rails today, who cares?
It's okay.
Who cares?
Food sausage, the best sausages you will ever eat. And we ate some during the show yesterday. Locally made and packed full of flavor. Order online or visit them in store, 6736 99th Street. Take advantage of their Edmonton Sports Talk discount. Yes, 10% off your order by entering the online code EST or mentioning us in store. Free delivery in Edmonton on orders over $100. As Food Sausage says, you can't beat our meat because it's delicious. All right. So I'm going to do today my top 3 overused or / misused sports words. And sort of what I'm thinking here is terms that get used where somebody in the media or sometimes fans, I feel like there are words that are used a lot sort of to make yourself maybe sound smart or like you're connected or but they get used so much they almost lose their meaning. Or I found if you follow up with somebody and say, "Oh, you said this. What do you mean?" They just use that word again as an explanation, which isn't really. It's like, well, what is a pen? Well, it's a pen. Well, no, a pen is an instrument used to write. So, and part of this is from my experience doing overtime open line, especially during a few years in which the Oilers were quite poor. And I sometimes found callers would use these words, and I would say, well, what do you mean? And they couldn't really explain what they meant. They just thought using that word was self-explanatory, but it's not.
I'm excited to hear this list.
So now I do have an honorable mention provided by Matthew Iwanek, our COO here at Edmonton Sports Talk.
Our fearless leader.
And he said the word compete, as in compete level.
Right.
We all know what people, but that's not like a compete level isn't. It shouldn't be a thing. It's become a term that shouldn't really be a term. He's a competitive player. He's a resilient player. He's a dogged player. He shows a lot of tenacity.
Everybody that you see on TV, if you're watching a sport, is competitive and is a competitor.
If you're in the pros, yes.
Maybe a better word for compete would be a motor. That guy's got a motor. You know what I mean? Like, they don't stop.
Yeah,
oftentimes that'll be referred to for defensive linemen in the NFL that just won't stop until they get to the quarterback.
And that's why I said, like, to me, resilient, dogged, relentless. Those are all things that might be better. But again, even though being competitive in sports is important, I think that's sort of become overused. That it's become, as you said, almost meaningless. He's got a good compete level.
Yeah, what's that even mean?
What does that even mean?
Tell me. Can you quantify it?
Right.
Is there a level of compete?
What's the level? He's got a high compete level.
Is this a range of 1 through 10? Are we talking 1 through 100?
Right.
1 through 30. I don't know.
So that's an honorable mention for Matt, which I think is a good one. One of the words I'm going to use is culture. And and then again, look, as people know, the first 3 years I did Overtime Open Line was the last 3 years of the Oilers' decade of darkness. They stunk. They didn't win a lot. And, we'd get a lot of calls, well, the Oilers have a losing culture. And I said, okay, but what do you mean by that? Well, they lose a lot. Now, first of all, a team can have a losing culture. That can be a thing. But not all teams who lose have a flawed or broken or losing culture. Some teams could have a great culture. So the reason I say this is because it's a little, I think, almost lazy for someone to say, and I include media people in this as well, and I try not to do it, or if I do it, I try to clarify it and explain it. Just saying, well, losing culture or winning culture, to me, isn't thorough enough. So what makes a team have a good culture or a bad culture? Well, to me, if you have a good culture, it's little things: showing up on time for practice, being prepared, listening to your coach, having a coach who's thorough and explanatory, having practices that are well organized, and the players understand the drills and they do their best to execute the drills and they help out their teammates. Accountability. I mean, what's one thing that you praised and other people praised Jarius Jackson for? Hey, Boris Beatty, you're higher on the depth chart, but you're sitting out the Labor Day game because you didn't have a great game. And I'm going to trust you and put you back in, but I want there to be accountability where you miss the next game. Knobloch did it, taking guys out and putting them back in. So, to me, accountability, attention to detail, respect, all those types of things make a good culture in hockey, football, or whatever. But I also want to say there are teams that don't win a lot that have good cultures. And I've talked to players and coaches who've been on those teams who've said, you know what, we sucked. We won 20% of our games. But we had a positive environment. We weren't happy about losing, and sometimes you can teeter on a breaking point. But players felt positive. They learned. The coaches and the players respected each other. So that's why sometimes it's just like, well, they got a bad culture. Well, how do you know? Or explain to me what's bad about the culture. Well, they lost the game. Okay, what did you see in the game that leads you to... Now, if somebody said this team has a bad culture, and I say, okay, you're not at practice and you're not in the dressing room, what are you seeing in the game that leads you to believe that they have a bad culture? Well, okay, the coach appeared disorganized. The players didn't appear to be listening to the coaches on the sideline or on the bench. The players didn't seem to know who was supposed to be on the field for special teams. You had players appearing frustrated after getting a bad call, right? To me, that's signs of maybe a bad culture. You could have a team go out there and bust their butt and have a great culture and just not be good enough. That doesn't mean they have a bad culture. So that's why I think culture, which I'm now overusing on this show, is an overused sports word.
I would say that a bad culture or a losing culture is harder to identify and almost impossible to identify from afar. A winning culture, on the other hand, is something that I believe is more identifiable. Okay? Look at the New England Patriots from 2001 to 2019, right? They appeared in 9 Super Bowls and they won a league record 6, tied with Pittsburgh. But was that a winning culture, right? Was that the Patriot way? Okay, that was a winning culture. Now they're projected to go, 4 and whatever, 4 and 12,
game, but yes,
or 4-13. But they did win their first game. But is that now a negative culture or a losing culture? No, it's just they don't have Tom Brady and all the other pieces on their offense. So culture, yes, that is overused and quite often misused or misguided. Because you and me don't have a hot clue what the actual culture is inside that locker room.
Right.
That's where culture comes from. Make no mistake.
And that's why, and I don't do this to be argumentative, but if someone says to me, oh, that team has a good culture or a bad culture, I always say explain that, because obviously winning or losing is very important. And as you said, if you win a lot year after year, there's probably a good culture. But again, tell me what you see. Tell me what you see that leads you to believe that. Because a lot of teams, I mean, did the San Jose Sharks have a losing culture? or they just didn't have enough good players, so they only won 19 games last year, right?
Well, I mean, let's put this out to the nasties as well, the PM nasties. If you can identify what you thought was a negative culture or a losing culture within an organization, any sport, chime in. Let us know, either in the EST inbox, 780-218-9999.
And I think it's become kind of a buzzword that, like, as I said, almost becomes meaningless. Well, they got a bad culture. Well, they got a bad culture. Well, okay.
It's almost a scapegoat for
it's
a
a scapegoat.
yeah.
I'm just going to write off the whole organization as being a mess where you don't really know.
Word number 2.
We're only at number 2.
No, word number 2. You give it to me, baby.
Right now, do we have time? I'll do it quickly. Well, this one ties in, and then I'll do my third one later, because my third one I'm really going to be strong on. This one, it's also the word character. Here's the thing.
Can you use it in a sentence?
When someone would say to me, player X has no character.
Yeah.
No, that bothers me. He either has good character or bad character or questionable character, or I question these things about his character because he yelled at his coach when he had to do a line change. Everybody has character. To say that he has no character is completely misusing the word.
Right.
Everybody has character.
Yes.
And again, I'm reluctant to, like, sometimes a player just isn't good enough. It doesn't mean he's a bad person or not trying hard enough or is lazy. Sometimes if Connor McDavid pedals around a rookie defenseman, it might look like that rookie defenseman isn't trying, but no, he's just overmatched. He probably has good character. He's probably a fine human being. So anyway, character is another word that I feel that can be overused or misheard. So it sort of ties into culture. Third one we'll do later.
The third one you can do after. Big Slam Nasty, the Ottawa Senators, when the Uber video of the players surfaced, he says that resembles bad culture. Do you recall that video?
Vaguely. Yeah, but that's a fair point. How do you treat people, that could be a sign of a bad culture? Right?
Is that players with no character?
Or is that players with poor character?
Character.
But yes, but that's
poor judgment.
But also that's okay. So that happens. How does the team address it? A team, to me, with a winning culture or a good culture, those players would in some way be disciplined, reprimanded, or whatever. A team with a bad culture would say, you know what? They're above being disciplined.
Matt Hyman says in the Nasty Chat, Rick Bowness was brought into to Winnipeg in part to fix the Jets' culture.
Well, and the Jets are an interesting team, right? Because there are always those things like that they had issues, with each other or getting along or accountability. So anyway, this is a fun topic, but hopefully people understand what I'm saying, even if they disagree with me. We do have. We're going to find out more about Travis Dermott, who the Oilers signed to a PTO. But first, we got the Coop.
As Reid said, Travis Dermott is relevant right now as he just signed a PTO with the Edmonton Oilers. He's 27-year-old left-handed shot defenseman, most recently playing for the Arizona Coyotes, who have now moved to Utah. And hockey is back as the Edmonton Oilers rookies take on the Canucks rookies down in Penticton tonight. Puck drop goes at 8:30. It's the Argos against the Lions in the lone CFL game at 8. EST's very own Dustin Nielsen will be making the call for that one. And at 5 o'clock, he'll be joining Reid and Jay right here on the Reid Wilkins Show. Over in the American game, Christian McCaffrey is out this weekend due to a calf injury. McCaffrey did not play in week 1 for the 49ers, and head coach Kyle Shanahan says that they've considered placing him on injury reserve. Russell Wilson is questionable for the Steelers in Saturday's game against the Broncos. He also sat out last week, and it seems like Justin Fields will be getting the start once again for the Steel City. The Blue Jays are set to face off against the St. Louis Cardinals tonight just after 5. The Jays stand 69-78. While the Cardinals pose a 74-72 record. Just after the break, it's Matt McConnell, the voice of the Utah Hockey Club, joining Reid and Jay right here on the Reid Wilkins Show to talk a bit more about Travis Dermott. I'm Zachary Kubish for your EST update.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for print, design, and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of expertise, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. For advertising solutions that stand out, choose William Huff. Visit us at williamhuff.com.
Few of us can say that we're over 60 and still hot, but Mr. Mike's Burger can. And to celebrate over 60 years of Mr. Mike's famous burger, you're invited to taste history for only $8.99 at Mike Burger Madness. Savor the original flame-grilled Mike Burger on their signature garlic French loaf for a limited time. Dine-in only price of just $8.99. Sides extra. It's Mr. Mike's Mike Burger Madness, and you'd be mad to miss it. Offer ends September 30th. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Okay, happy Friday, Nasties. Appreciate you tuning in. Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne.
Castor 1990 in the Nasty Chat. Both actresses who played the daughters on Poltergeist died young. The little blonde girl died of septic shock, while the older sister was killed by a boyfriend.
Okay.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday, everybody. And we do... We do have Matt McConnell on the line. Matt, this is a sports show, and we are having you on to talk about hockey, but we had a divergence into
it's Friday the 13th.
Horror films and stuff. Matt McConnell's the play-by-play voice for the Utah Hockey Club. How are you doing, sir?
Guys, I'm doing great. I got to say that's the most unique introduction I've had in quite some time.
My apologies.
We're happy to stand out however we can. Hey,
you need like it is Friday the 13th. You need like an old Doug Favell mask or a Bernie Parent mask or something, right?
Well, we have asked our audience their favorite horror movie villain, so that's why we kind of got into some other stuff. Hey, thanks for doing this. Appreciate you taking the time. Before we get into the transition here from Arizona to Utah, we should ask you about Travis Dermott, who you would have seen with the Coyotes. The Oilers have signed him to a PTO. What kind of player are the Oilers going to be taking a look at here?
You know what? I think that's a good. I think that's a good move by Edmonton. He's. I thought he was very, very effective. He was, a little bit of an under the radar guy at this point of his career. But when he was in Arizona, he never looked out of place. I thought he was pretty steady. Fairly stay at home. He'd block the occasional shot. I always thought he had a pretty good reach too, right? So, I guess in Edmonton, maybe you got to get a little bit of you got to get a little creative considering, the cap situation or whatever. But I think he's a guy that could help the team, and he's a great person. Like he was one of the people I always enjoyed just being around and talking shop with, and so I wish him well. I hope he wins a spot up there.
I just want to check because he shoots left, but does he play the right side? Did they use him on the right side?
I think they used him in both situations, and that that's something that Andre's not afraid to put a left shot on a right point, and so vice versa. But he's a guy. He's stealthy. He's stealthy good as a depth guy. I think at least he was in Arizona. And I'm hoping for him. I'm pulling for him. I hope he gets a contract.
Matt, not only did they transfer the players' contracts and obviously the players from Arizona to Utah, but you were a major part of the package deal. What was that like? What was that process like? Essentially saying the team's moving here, you're moving with us. How has that been? How was the change?
Well, I told everybody I was put on waivers and then I got claimed, all by the same group, right? So, I honestly didn't know if I was going to be a part of the group moving up. My wife and I, late, the second half of May, we decided, we love going over to Europe and just getting away from it every once in a while. So, like every other year, we head over there. So we went over there the second half of May, and it was really good just to kind of clear our heads of what was going on in Arizona. And prior to that, I actually went up with the team in April, and I emceed the Meet the Team event. So, maybe they got a little bit of an idea of who I am and what I could do for the organization. I certainly think that helped me a little bit, but. When we got back, we were kind of wondering, will I have an opportunity? And then it all kind of came together in August, probably a little later than I had anticipated, to be honest with you. But I got to tell you, once I got here and even through the process, first class all the way. Not just saying that either. I don't mean to be pandering or anything, but they're doing everything right. I was talking to some guys out at the Olympic Oval where they're going to, practice this year until their new facility gets built in Sandy, Utah, which is about 15 minutes south of the downtown. They completely redid that in the span of about 2 months. They put the practice rink in the middle of the Olympic speed skating oval. And then they did all of this construction in the one corner, creating offices, creating training space, creating locker rooms, and they literally got that done in the span of about 8 weeks. So, Ryan and Ashley Smith, they're in it, and they're in it to have success. And they have really, they have not skimped on getting everything ready for this team to have success. And it's been quite. It's been a breath of fresh air for me, for sure, and it's exciting. The team, or the city, I should say, is buzzing right now. They're excited for this group.
Yeah, I'm hoping you can dive a little more into that about the fan reception and the buzz for the team. And I know you probably got tired of talking about Coyotes' attendance and where the arena was located and going to the smaller facility the last couple of years. But looking ahead here, how are they doing, trying to quickly, craft out fan support and all that kind of stuff in Salt Lake City?
Well, I think a lot of people don't, maybe they don't realize, or they just weren't around, but Salt Lake's got a pretty good, history of hockey, albeit not in the National Hockey League, but, their time dates back to the old Central Hockey League, the International Hockey League. I remember in 1987-88, I was working for the Blues farm team in Peoria, Illinois, and we drew Salt Lake, the Golden Eagles. We drew them in the first round of the playoffs, and we had a 3-2 series lead in the opening round, and we came back to Salt Lake for games 6 and 7. And this young Calgary prospect by the name of Theo Fleury made his pro hockey debut, and guys, I can tell you, that was the end of the series. He had, I want to say he had 17 or 18 points in 6 or 7 playoff games that year for the Golden Eagles. But, there's a lot of players that have come through here. Mike Vernon, Stu Grimson's another guy. There's a couple of Utahns that have played in the NHL. Trevor Lewis, obviously, LA Kings, Steve Konowalchuk is another guy. So there is a history of hockey here. And now, they have an opportunity to take this to the highest level in the world. And they're getting a pretty good team, I think. They're getting a team that's on the cusp, right? And now they have the resources to fine tune and supplement. they completely rebuilt the blue line, right? They brought in John Marino, Ian Cole, and Mikhail Sergachev, and so the back end is rebuilt. And you would think with a better back end, they're going to play up the ice a little more. That should help both goaltenders. So so they're right there. If it's not this year, then it's coming soon. It's just a matter of how they execute and how they can bring that whole level of play up to hopefully qualify for the playoffs here in the not too distant future.
Well, and obviously they played the Oilers a couple of times late in the season, including that final game at Mullet Arena, and I thought they were a very energetic, sort of resilient bunch. And you mentioned some of the additions that are going to help. John Marino was an Oilers draft pick from several years ago who didn't want to stay with the organization. Yep. What kind of a shot does Kyler Yamamoto have on his PTO, do you think?
I haven't given that much thought. He kind of, he's bounced around, right? And in terms of does he have a fit? I don't know. I really don't know. Right-handed shot guy, they're usually sought out, but does he fit into that whole I don't know, bottom six that maybe can produce a little more offense? That all remains to be seen. You guys certainly know him a lot better than I do, but the one thing that the group does have is they've got a lot of interchangeable parts. So they've got, they're not, slotted as centermen, slotted on the left side, slotted on the right side. They've got a lot of players that can play multiple positions. Alex Kerfoot can play anywhere. You can play Nick Schmaltz in the middle or on the wing. Logan Cooley, same type of thing. Is he a centerman or is he a winger? So I think all of that's going to probably sort out in camp, but I'm sure Kyler's going to come here, give it his best shot, and we'll see. Another stealthy little move they made late in the offseason was Robert Bortuzzo. They signed him to a two-way deal. So, they've got him as an insurance policy on the back end. So they've certainly upgraded their skill level overall with the aforementioned guys on defense like Sergachev and that. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because this team can score goals. I think that's been proven over the last year or two. The question is, how well do they defend? And the other question too, honestly, is how do they get over the hump, right?
Yeah.
2 years ago, I want to say they were leading the Pacific Division around Christmas time, and then last year, they were hanging around for a wild card spot until they went out east right before the All-Star break, and that was pretty much lights out from that point on. They had just a real tough January and early on into February, but can they get over the hump? That's the other question.
All right, and I guess our final question, Matt, and thanks for hopping on today. So this year they're the Utah Hockey Club, and I believe that's also a finalist for the name. I think we got Blizzard, Mammoth, Outlaws, Venom, and Yeti. Do you get a vote, or they will have a name a year from now, officially a name? Is that correct?
I would think so. I don't get a vote, and I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Come on!
Everybody's asking about that. There's no way. And I'm telling you, I love coming on with you, but I'm not talking. But no, they've whittled it down, and now they've got to decide on how they're going to proceed. And speculation is it'll probably happen at some point. This season, but again, I'm glad I'm not in that room trying to decide that one.
Well, Matt, thanks for hopping on. Thanks for having fun with that last one. But yeah, appreciate the update. I mean, you've had an interesting career. We could have done a whole nother segment on your incredible travels. Maybe we'll do that some other day. But cool for you that you're going from the Coyotes to the HC, and we hope to talk to you again soon. Really appreciate it.
Oh, anytime, guys. Thanks for having me, and do appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Matt McConnell, play-by-play voice for the Utah Hockey Club, as we are coming to you from the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them, jameshbrown.com. Book your private consultation today. So Utah HC is a finalist. Blizzard, Mammoth, Outlaws, Venom, Yeti.
Utah Yeti's cool. Mammoth, that's a Colorado lacrosse team.
It is, yes. And Van Halen's original name?
Mammoth.
The band, yeah, Mammoth.
Blizzard. Meh. Yeti or HC? I honestly don't have a problem with Utah HC.
Just keeping it that way.
Yeah, I mean, when it was the Washington Football Club and then they changed it to the Commanders, which is terrible.
Well, you don't like Commanders?
No.
I actually like that.
The Commies? Come on.
I honestly had never thought of that.
Yeah.
I had never heard them called that or thought of that in my own mind.
What the heck's a commander because we're in DC? Like, grow up. I hate that.
Yeah,
name.
but what's anything if you look at it that way?
Then keep it as Washington Football Club. I love that.
That would have been neat.
Yeah, it would have been different. And Washington, the W, it could have been.
I just got really deep there. What's anything if you really think about it?
What is anything? You know what is something? It is Friday the 13th, and there are some. This is the lists are, horror movie villain, your scariest, favorite, creepiest, weirdest.
Yeah.
We want to hear them all.
And I guess it could also be the hero of the movie, because I would put a character from a movie that came out earlier this year that my dad and I went and saw, and we both loved it, is Abigail, the little girl vampire.
Sure.
She actually was not really the villain, but I guess she was the monster, so to speak.
Sneaky Scary was the ghost face from Scream.
Yes, that's classic.
You
Ghostface
knew it was coming.
Yeah.
You knew it was there, but just the elongated face and the.
And it's one of those that might not be scary overly. Well, I mean, he does scary and killery things.
Killery.
That's also something I just made up. That'll be one of my words. But like, if you're alone and then you start thinking about Ghostface, then it gets creepy.
Yes.
Or getting a phone call from Ghostface.
Big Maple. What about the log from Final Destination?
I never saw those, but okay.
The log came off the truck and went through the.
Off a truck.
Jen Cool in the nasty chat. Michael Myers. I am terrified of masks.
There we go.
Leatherface
Halloween.
2.
Yeah.
Or from Hannibal. Or Silence of the Lambs.
Well, Hannibal Lecter could be one for sure.
The weird guy, the butterfly guy.
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill.
Bill.
And this one here, Plastic Cheese. This was a really witty one and really good because once you hear it, you're reminded of it, and it was just a freaky character. Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh wow, I don't remember that well enough.
No, that was
not a horror film though.
Well, it's Christopher Lloyd played it. Remember his eyes popped out?
God, I don't remember.
Oh, he was
I'm sorry,
creepy.
everybody.
And then he ended up, spoiler alert. Not sure you can say that for a movie that was made in 1988, but spoiler alert, they end up melting him at the end.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. They put him in the sulfuric acid and he's gone. But that was a creepy character in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Good update there on the Coyotes' transition to Utah. Dustin Nielsen is going to join us.
Who's that guy?
I will finish my top three. We'll look ahead to some big games coming up this weekend. But first, the Coop with the sports update.
Veteran defenseman Travis Dermott will have a professional tryout with the Edmonton Oilers. The 2015 second rounder has suited up for the Leafs, Canucks, and the Coyotes throughout his career. Out in Penticton, it's the Oilers rookies set to meet the Canucks rookies for this weekend's Young Stars Classic. Puck drop tonight is at 8:30. Speaking about the West Coast, the Argonauts get set to kick off against the Lions at BC Place. That's a lone CFL game tonight, and it starts at 8 with our own Dustin Nielsen on the call from Edmonton Sports Talk. He'll be joining us just at 5 in about 19 minutes. Down in the Steel City, Russell Wilson looks like he'll miss his second straight week for the Steelers. Wilson was listed as questionable today, and it looks like Justin Fields will start once again for the black and gold. 49ers superstar running back Christian McCaffrey's out for this weekend's game. He sat out last week as well and has been considered to be placed on the injury reserve. Back in Canada, The Jays start a set against the St. Louis Cardinals tonight just after 5. The Jays are 69-78, while the Cardinals pose a 74-72 record on the season. Once we're back after the break, Reid and Jay will continue their discussion with Reid's top 3 for Fuge sausages, talking about the top 3 overused or misused sports words. I'm Zachary Kubish for your Edmonton Sports Talk update.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oiler fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups, from farm tractors to school buses to a big rig, from diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Kathy Bates won Best Actress for her performance in Misery, the character Annie Wilkes. James Caan played Paul Sheldon. Directed by Rob Reiner, Meathead from All in the Family, and also director of the probably my favorite film of all time, This is Spinal Tap. Tying it all together here, Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. How are you doing, Jay?
Oh, good. Rob Reiner was actually also Jordan Belfort's dad in The Wolf of Wall Street. He was the actor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he directed A Few Good Men as well.
Legendary character. Very, very legendary. VR Montenegro Reid was in on the EST inbox. Pinhead from Hellraiser.
I wondered when someone was going to bring him in.
This is funny. He says, to this day, I'm still scared of Plinko on The Price is Right.
Oh, see, I haven't seen those, so I don't get all the horror movie references.
No, like the game Plinko.
Oh, I thought that Plinko was in Candyman or something.
It must just give him like flashbacks with all the pins on Plinko.
Oh, no. Okay. Now I get it. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yes.
I was like... I was on my own island there.
Is Dusty calling the Al Stamps game tomorrow too? Yes, he is.
We're going to have him on. Wonder if he's watching or listening right now.
Is Dusty your biggest guest so far?
No comment.
No comment. From Reid. If you're listening, Dustin, that was Reid.
I don't know if he'll be tuning in yet. He's got the game tonight. All right. I have to say I'm very honored by how people have participated in the off-topic topics through 9 shows and reacted to our top 3s as well. It's been pretty fun to get people involved and hear their opinions and them generally going along with it, generally having fun. I have irritated some people a couple of times, but that's also part of the fun.
Are you an uncle?
No, I'm an only child.
Okay.
And I'm single, so I can't be an uncle.
It's actually impossible.
Yes, it's I have some of my best friends have had their kids call me uncle, but no, I'm not
My
biologically
daughter
an
just
uncle.
texted me during the break. She says, from now on, I'm going to call him Uncle Reid. So now,
Oh, wow.
you're
Well,
officially an uncle.
Another honor. I have. I'm conversing with the Nasties.
What a day!
I have a show with you. Dustin's coming on it, and now I'm
that's the
an
thing with
uncle
me.
to one of your children. Just one.
Just one.
The other two are like, nope.
Yeah, no, that's just
You
get
think
one.
your
One's
wife
better
put her
than
up to that?
I don't think so. No, it's from like the bat phone.
We are going to be doing the show from the Metro Cinema, the Garneau. I think we have a lot of people still call it the Garneau, 87th Ave and 109th Street. Obviously,
To me, it'll always be the Garneau.
Estes are there on Tuesday, so that'll be fun. I think we're presenting an award. Are we on location a week from today?
We are on location a week from today. That will be Friday, September 20th. We are going to be on location live from one of our really good partners, Sit and Sleep. They are beside the Planet Fitness in South Edmonton Common. Funny story, but given that I was in the furniture business, this was one of my major competitors. But good people, good family business, honest people, and just a beautiful store. So Reid and I are going to be trying out mattresses. That sounded weird. We're going to be at a furniture store. It'll be just like the good old days.
Are we
for
going to
me.
do the show while lying down? We could.
We can see. We can get as creative as you want.
It's the mattress so comfortable, you could host a talk show while lying on it.
Yeah.
Now, so this Sit and Sleep was a competitor that you respected.
Yes, very much so.
When will we find out about all the competitors you thought were scumbags?
There were very actually funny story. Is that in that industry, it's very family businesses and the little guys there's not that many of them, and that number seems to be dwindling, year over year. So most of them, and it was almost like you don't really want to screw with each other. There's no point to that. You want everybody to, if my competitor is successful, that most likely means I'm going to be having success.
Right.
We'll get into it another time.
Yeah, we'll do a segment on the furniture business.
What happened.
I know
why.
nothing about it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, honestly, I could still be doing it today if that was how the cards were laid out.
It was Yvonne's Furniture was your family business.
Yeah, my mom
the
and dad.
person who bought it, is it still a furniture store?
No. We didn't. We just liquidated and shut down.
Oh, you liquidated and shut
30
down.
years.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, my parents started it 30 years ago. So they ran it, and then my brother and I ran it for the last 10 or 11 years.
Oh, amazing.
And it was just time for a change.
Well, this is a good change for you, I hope.
You think? Yeah, I agree. This is a dream job. It really is. And we'll get into the genesis of it a while, further down the road. But it's interesting.
Yeah,
It's
I want to get the audience to let the audience get to know you a little bit better too as we move along. Also, we'll be on location 2 weeks from so 1 week from today at Sit and Sleep. 2 weeks from today on the 27th, we have a EST watch party, Century Casino at Fort Road, to take in the Elks and the Bombers, the second half of the home and home. That one's in Winnipeg.
Big news. For those of you wondering, there will be a chicken wing eating contest at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge on the 27th. It will commence at halftime, and the week leading up to it, on this very show, Reid and I are going to qualify contestants that would like to participate in the wing eating challenge. It's not going to be who can eat the most. It's going to be who can eat 1 pound the fastest.
This is the first I'm hearing about all this.
It was breaking news. Just breaking. Just got the confirmation from our dear Renee over at Century Sports Bar and Lounge. So that's going to be fun. That is going to be a hoot. And then there will be prizes. So it's going to be a great night. Anytime that we get together as a group, it brings the fun. Hey, you guys have a great weekend.
See you guys.
That's a round of clicks for Hernan and Joaquin.
Hernan and Joaquin are going for the weekend. They stayed quite late today. I'm impressed.
They had a lot of business
show
to
ended
get
at 3, and they're still here. I'm not sure I would have done that. All right, so I'm going to round out my top 3 for food sausage. My top 3 overused / misused used in sports when media and fans talk about sports. Already on the list, I had culture and character, and Matty Iwanek had the honorable mention of compete, as in compete level. My third word is unbelievable. And I have made a concerted effort, and I mean this. If I use the word unbelievable, I want you or the Nasties to call me out. Maybe we'll have an unbelievable jar where I got to put a quarter in that I could have spent at the arcade on Dragon's Lair into the jar.
Unbelievable.
And I really am at the point where it is so overused. And then I if an athlete says it in an interview, okay, whatever. They're talking after a game. I don't expect them to have the largest or, spur of the moment to have a perfect vocabulary. But I'm thinking if I'm talking about a play on a talk show, or an analyst is talking about a play, or somebody is doing the highlight of a play, you should have something more explanatory to say than unbelievable. And quite frankly, it's misused almost all the time. Oh, a guy hit into a double play. That's not unbelievable.
It's actually quite believable because it just happened.
A goaltender made a diving glove save. I believe that happened. Something is actually unbelievable if you describe it to somebody and they somehow think that you're pranking them or that you're exaggerating.
Can I give you an example?
And I have two. Go ahead.
Randy Johnson throwing the pitch off the mound that blew up a bird.
Yeah, if you said to me that happened, yeah, you would say that's unbelievable because you might think maybe he hit a bird, maybe it bounced off a bird, but yeah, the bird actually disintegrated.
This terrifies me because I think I'm a big unbelievable guy. Now I'm going to have to. I'm on watch.
Well, I'm not going to call you on it. It's just a personal thing.
No, I think you should.
But a couple of things to me that would actually be unbelievable, and one of these. I was working, I think I was at Blockbuster during the Holyfield Tyson fight, and a colleague came into work and said, yeah, Tyson bit him on the ear. And I'm like, okay, I wonder what actually happened. And then I get home that night, and Tyson bit him on the ear. And then the Tiger Woods chip in on 16 at the 2005 Masters,
yes.
That's borderline unbelievable. Not that he made it necessarily, but the stakes at the time, the way it rolled, the way it paused on the edge of the cup and dropped in, those were borderline unbelievable. As in, if you describe those to me without me knowing anything about them, I would think you must be making it up or really exaggerating. But it just comes up so much that I think it's become a bit of a lazy word. I mean, say amazing, unlikely.
Unlikely would be a good one, right?
Or just describe it to me. Hey, I didn't get to see the Oilers game last night. What happened? Oh, they won 3-2, and Skinner made an unbelievable save with 3 seconds left. Okay, well, just don't tell me it's an unbelievable save. Then describe it to me. And with 3 seconds left, it looked like Ovechkin was all alone on the right side, and Skinner had been knocked down, and he scrambled to one knee and extended his left arm and reached out and grabbed the puck out of the air, and it was going under the crossbar. Oh, okay. Now I know. Unbelievable is so overused, it doesn't really describe anything to me. And yes, I know everybody, I'm extremely weird and nitpicky, but I think it's become an overused
you're
word.
backing up what you're saying. You're providing context to
I have reasons for almost all my thoughts.
So go with it. I'm just going to have to put up above Zach, I think, above the Coob's little cubicle back there.
Cubicle.
Unbelievable, like with an X through it. Because I think I would. Actually, our next guest, I'm not sure if you've heard of him, Dustin Nielsen. I believe he's an unbelievable guy.
I would say so.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I think he uses it.
I don't jump on people who use it in casual conversation. It's just I feel if you're a professional broadcaster, if you're okay, it's not unbelievable, and I know it's exaggeration, but it might be difficult. Again, it might be unlikely, but it's getting used in areas where it's not even unlikely. Okay, a guy has runners on first and third with one out, and he grounds into a double play. unbelievable. Well, no, it's perfectly believable. There are double plays in almost every baseball game.
It depends how you phrase it. Like if you're like, unbelievable. That's just like your TikTok. That's an expression of frustration. But, people are now in, like Dazzler in the EST inbox. He's saying this list is unbelievable, LOL.
Thank you.
And Rip City
Dazzler
Step,
from the X-Men.
This show is unbelievable.
Thank you.
So we're getting a lot of
It
love.
is hard to believe I'd be allowed to host a show.
Now, I will say, I was as shocked as you. I will say this, that there are people that are chiming in with their... Now, these are words that they've said that are most overused.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
By the media, okay? So it's staying, with the theme. Rob had guessed puck luck would be your number 3rd. Most overused for CLB and airdrie, fruition and maturation. Does not like those. Library Pat said, let me pull it up here. Not a word, but I can't stand when broadcasters say that a player left his feet.
That's a good one.
Just say he jumped.
He jumped, or he left the ice, or he left the field. He didn't leave his feet. His feet are still attached to his ankles and legs.
Yeah.
I left it down to single words, but that is at the point where it bugs me. Oh, he left his feet. No, he didn't. His feet are still attached to him. He left the ice. He jumped.
And La Bamba guy chimed in and said, best shape of his life. It seems to be overused a lot.
I'd say maturation for sure would be on there. It's
maturation, that's just a fancy word. It sounds good.
Used incorrectly in sentences.
I
enjoy proper grammar, even though I'm far from perfect, but I try to be, I try to do good.
Oh, you do great.
Do well. Should be do well. All right. We'll take a break. The Coob will do a sports update.
From the cubicle.
And then the owner of Edmonton Sports Talk.
Wow.
Is on the show.
Something that isn't unbelievable, hockey is back. The Oilers rookies set to meet the Canucks rookies tonight for the Young Stars Classic. Puck drop is at 8:30. And speaking about the West Coast, the Argonauts get set for kickoff against the Lions in BC Place. This is a lone game on the CFL schedule tonight, and that starts at 8 p.m. with the CEO of Edmonton Sports Talk on the call for that one. That being Dustin Nielsen. In the American game, 49ers superstar running back Christian McCaffrey is out this weekend for his club. He sat out last week as well and is considered to be put on the injury reserve. Back in Canada, the Blue Jays are set to face off against the St. Louis Cardinals just after 5. Kevin Gausman gets a call on the mound for them. In the other games right now, it's the Orioles against the Tigers. 1-0 is the score with the Tigers with the lead at the top of the second. 0-0 for the Mets and Phillies, as well as the Royals and Pirates. Top of the second for the Pirates-Royals game. Right now, the Marlins are also playing the Nationals, and they're at the bottom of the second. Zeros through that one so far. Just after the break, Dustin Nielsen will be joining Reid and Jay to talk about the Argos versus the Lions. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life, insured, Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for print, design, and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of expertise, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. For advertising solutions that stand out, choose William Huff. Visit us at williamhuff.com.
Conveniently located 10 minutes west of St. Albert, Wheeler's RV Storage will provide you with safe, secure storage for your RV, boat, or whatever you need to store. Open 7 days a week with gated keypad access and extra large stalls. Now is the time to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months and get 1 month free. Now's the time to go to WheelersRVStorage.com. That's Wheeler's RV Storage. Safe, secure storage. Visit them today at WheelersRVStorage.com.
All right. 5:02 on a Friday afternoon. Hopefully you're getting off work. I always hesitate to say that, though, because people can work strange hours, and there are probably some people who have just started a shift or are going to work.
X-Ray
So
Jay.
I don't want to make it so, really?
Yep. He's working shift work up in Fort Mac.
Oh, wow.
Just eating breakfast.
Having breakfast? Did he just write in?
He's been on the Nasty Chat today, yep.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We're in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law with over 200 years of experience. James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Website, jameshbrown.com. Book your private consultation today. Unbelievable to have James H. Brown on board.
Great partners of Edmonton Sports Talk, absolutely. And yes, we are. Now, don't forget that today's off-topic topic for presented by William Huff is your favorite horror movie villains, as it is.
I guess monster, I should have said, because it could be the hero. Could be somebody you're cheering for that's the monster.
Villains is fine, too.
Okay. People know what I mean.
But, I mean, yeah, chime in, EST inbox, 780-218-9999, or hit us up in the Nasty Chat. Matt Hyman says, Dusty dropped a "What is happening?" in the WST marble race today. What? Wait a minute. There's a marble race that we can be a part of?
Was there a marble race? He didn't work this morning, did he?
No. Too busy marble racing, I guess. Huh. No, I thought I love marble races. Wow.
I remember when the pandemic just started, Joe Buck did play-by-play for a marble race. It was pretty funny.
Shout out to Benny for listening. This is the first time he's listened to the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. How you doing, Benny boy?
Thanks for checking it out. Hope you come back. Did you watch the entire game last night?
No.
Dolphins Bills? Did you?
No, once Tua went out, Tua's my starting quarterback in fantasy.
I was surprised at how. Now I know obviously it didn't help when Tua went out, and we talked about that injury, but I was surprised at what a mundane performance it was by the Dolphins. They didn't seem overly engaged or sharp. I mean, when I turned it on, it was 24/7, and they had the ball late in the first half, and they seemed moderately interested in getting a touchdown. If they did, they would have been fine with it, but whatever.
Yeah, it was just a boring, mundane game. Ugh. You know, I mean, Miami's defense couldn't stop anything.
True.
James Cook ran all over them, up and down the field. Josh Allen really didn't have to be that special. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that offense. I mean, now there's even obviously more question marks given that Tua is probably not going to be playing in the near future anyhow. Norman at Combine says, or going from one job to another, given the time of day. Example, welding during the day, farming at night.
Oh, yeah. Norman at Combine's a busy guy.
It is harvest time. Make hay while the sun shines, they say.
Is he ready, Zach? Give me a thumbs up if he's ready. I'm pleased to be joined by our next guest. He does play-by-play for the Canadian Football League. Please welcome Justin Nelson to the. Sorry, Dustin Nielsen.
Good one.
Justin
how you
Nielsen.
doing?
I'm doing all right, boys. How are you?
Good. Where are you at? Where are you? I can't quite see where you are. You're not at the stadium yet.
No, I'm just at my hotel room. We stay at the Sheridan Wall Center here. I got upgraded. I'm in like a 1-room bedroom suite. It's awesome. This hotel is better than like every house I lived in until I turned about 29 years old. I swear to God, I'm not even lying.
Does it have a kitchenette?
Actually, no, it does not have a kitchenette. It does not have a kitchenette. I thought there might be one like down the hallway, but no, there isn't. No.
So would you travel? I've never asked you this. This isn't like a setup or anything. But when you travel, is it always the same hotel in each city, or is it different hotels sometimes?
No, it's always the same hotel. Vancouver is Sheridan Wall Center. Winnipeg, it's the Delta downtown. Regina's the Delta, which is attached to a casino. In Calgary, it's at the Westin. And we've got a new travel girl this year at TSN, and she's booked me hotels in Edmonton a couple of times. And I haven't taken advantage of it yet. I've been like, no, I don't need a hotel. I live in Edmonton. But next weekend, she has a hotel booked for me at the Westin, and I might just be like, whatever. Saturday after the game, I'll just go to Westin.
Screw it. Just do it. Take it on.
So she obviously doesn't book the flights, though. So there's separate people doing that?
No, she also books the flights. She's just new.
Oh.
So
okay.
She's still learning the ways. But she gets me to where I need to be, and sometimes books an extra hotel in my home city, which I got to start taking advantage of.
All right, so what do you have tonight is Toronto, BC. We had Julio Carvat on a couple of days ago. I mean, Rourke's really clicking. And I feel I've seen Toronto a few times, and I know Chad Kelly missed half the season, but I'm like, I'm like, man, oh man, and I know they lost players too, but I kind of thought they'd be a little better. Like I've seen some Toronto games where I'm thinking that they look like a bit of a sluggish football team. I never know what to expect from them.
Yeah, I think tonight we'll probably get a pretty entertaining, high-scoring football game. I mean, the Lions have put up 27 in 3 straight, have won 2 in a row. The Argos have lost 2 in a row, but have also put up 27 and 28 in those losses. So, I was going over some of the numbers last night. Chad Kelly's, he's throwing the ball a ton. Offensively had a pretty good game last time out, but threw a bunch of picks. He also threw a bunch of touchdowns. Had his highest yard total of the year last time out. So I think offensively, probably a pretty entertaining football game tonight. Rourke's starting to hit his stride a little bit. And the one thing with the BC Lions offense, and Toronto can do this as well, but they haven't done it as often. But the Lions have sort of started to activate or commit to William Stanback a little bit more. He's probably going to surpass 1,000 yards rushing on the season tonight. He'll be the first guy to get there. And 4 straight games in a row. I think he's had somewhere between 15 to 20 touches and at least 94 or 95 yards, a couple 100-yard games in there. So I know it's easy to talk about, Nathan Rourke and the offense, but I think a big part of it is actually that they've kind of got Stanback going. And I thought he was an excellent pickup for the BC Lions last year, for this season. Last season, they were a great team, but Taekwon Mizell is just not William Stanback. I thought Stanback was one of the most necessary pickups in the offseason across the league, and he's really starting to pay off for the Lions.
Dustin, Jay Milne here with Edmonton Sports Talk. Thanks for joining us today.
Nice to see you, Jay. I've never met you before.
I'm a nobody around here anyways. BC's looking for their 3rd straight win, as you said. 3rd straight against an Eastern Division team. But I want to talk about Toronto here. I want to look at some numbers with you. Chad Kelly in the last 3 games, 36 of 56, 4 INTs versus Ottawa. 24 of 30, 1 interception versus Hamilton, and then another interception in his game against Saskatchewan. Kadeem Carey in his last 3 games, Dusty, is averaging under 10 carries a game. We've seen how problematic that is for the Double E here in Edmonton. Does Dinwiddie need to simplify this offense and take some of the pressure off? Chad Kelly last week, 56 passing attempts. And Kadeem Carey, who's arguably one of the top running backs in the league, is averaging under 10 carries per game. What does Dinwiddie need to do? Does he need to simplify things and get back to that run game? Or what do you see heading into this game?
Well, last time out is kind of game script. I mean, they were getting absolutely pumped. They were down by like 25 or whatever it was at one point. So I think that sort of led to the high attempts. But they do need to run Kadeem Carey more. Like I mentioned, with Stanback, BC's capable of doing this. Toronto's capable of doing it as well. Kadeem Carey's an excellent back. And since it's interesting, since Chad Kelly's return, you mentioned the numbers for Kadeem Carey. The one guy who's had sort of a positive regression since Chad Kelly returned, and I noticed this looking at the numbers today, and I noticed it a little bit because I have him on my fantasy team in our 6-man Superior CFL Fantasy Football League. But that's DeMonte Coates. Like Coates he's been what you expected him to be this season since Chad Kelly came back. Kelly's a bit of a mess off the field. I think we could all put it that way for Chad Kelly. But he's a talented football player, and I think he probably, like Rourke, need a little bit of time here to sort of get back up to speed. I think it's going to be a really entertaining football game, probably more so than the one I'm going to do tomorrow in Calgary. So we'll see if the game script allows them to mix in Kadeem Carey a little bit more. If Rourke's slinging it on the other side and BC gets up by 15-20 in the first half, like we saw last week in the Toronto game, then they're probably going to have to be forced to allow Kelly to try to cook a little bit more. But that's led to some interceptions as well.
Back here in Edmonton, the Green and Gold are 5-8 heading into that game next weekend against Winnipeg. Both teams are obviously on a bye this weekend. After this home and home, given that Edmonton is currently 5-8, after this home and home, what do you expect the Green and Gold's record to be?
6-9.
Split.
I'd be pretty surprised if they're not split. I know, like Winnipeg also had a horrible start to the year, right? They're not as bad as the Elks, but probably by Winnipeg standards, even worse. Like nobody expected Winnipeg to come out of the gate and start the year 0-4. If they did, so they've managed to turn around lately. I think they've won 7 of their last 9. They put themselves in a pretty nice spot here. But if you go watch Winnipeg, their offense is not as good as Edmonton. This is not a homer take. It's just you can go look at the numbers. The Elks have the best offense in the Canadian Football League. I know Trey Ford's going to start, but MBT has had a much better season than Zach Collaros has had. Collaros is just, his interception numbers compared to his touchdown numbers are mind-boggling to me. But the Winnipeg defense is awesome. That's it's sort of been over this 5-year stretch where they've been to 4 Grey Cups in a row. The defense has always been there for them. They've had some great offense mixed in there. This year, they don't have the great offense. We just haven't seen it from them. Brady Oliveira somehow doesn't have a touchdown at this point of the season, which just sounds insane. I think it's going to be 2 really good games, but I fully expect, I don't think it's a surprise if Edmonton wins one. I fully expect them to split with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It'd be pretty disappointing if they don't with the way that they played as of late.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to make one more point here, and I'm not sure if you got to listen to the Hangout today, just with your travels and whatnot, but Scout was on from the Elks herd, and he made a great point, which none of us had thought about. I'm wondering if you'd thought about it, but if there is a split, the points for and against in both these games are going to come down to deciding who gets the season series in this match. I didn't even think about that, but that's crazy. Reid, what do you got to ask, Dusty?
Also just quickly on that one, the Elks already have the season series against BC.
Yes,
and
they could get it against
Winnipeg.
They could get it against Saskatchewan too in the final final weeks of the CFL season. So this could be a big series.
Not that it's going to matter.
A split with Winnipeg though still helps Winnipeg because they'd be even if Edmonton got the points because they'd be 2 games up with 3 games to play.
Yeah.
So Edmonton would have to almost. But
if the Elks want to finish first, boys, they got to sweep Winnipeg. That's pretty much.
And then they still need help with BC lose. Yeah, if they sweep Winnipeg, they would be ahead of Winnipeg. They'd be tied at 7-8, but they'd have the tiebreaker. But then BC might be hard to catch. I think 3rd is very possible. Jay's a little more optimistic that 2nd is possible.
2nd's available.
There's a path
to it.
They'd need a lot of help to get 1st. But what's amazing, Dustin, and you brought it up, is what you said about the Elks offense. A little over a year ago, we were talking about a team that had been shut out twice and might have been the most incompetent offense I had ever seen in the Canadian Football League. I mean, I don't remember every team in the 80s. There were some pretty bad teams, but that's the amazing thing is how they score points. And last week we went through the offensive rankings, first in points, first in yards. Like the only one they were low down in was yards per passing attempt or something, which is a little more of kind of an obtuse one. But that's the amazing thing is how, with many of the same players and one of the same quarterbacks, they've gone from this team that it was a miracle if they put together 2 first downs to where you actually are disappointed if they don't get a touchdown. It's quite a transformation.
Yeah, I mean, we have to remember McAdoo calling the shots there for a while offensively. I mean, that's why I always was like, I'd like to see Cornelius without McAdoo. I know it sounds ridiculous to say, but I would have liked to have seen him kind of get the reins taken off a little bit there. But yeah, I mean, offensively, look at this team. Their running back group is the deepest in the Canadian football. Like it just is. There's like Brady Oliveira's elite, William Stanback's elite, but nobody has 3 guys that you could confidently start. Like they had that stretch where over 4 games, 3 different running backs each had 100 yards. And that was with Trey Ford at quarterback and with MBT at quarterback. So it wasn't just specifically Trey Ford's opening things up for these guys. I mean, they managed to do it the other side. And then, coming into the season, from a receiver standpoint, and this was right around the time Kyron Moore got hurt. I mean, that's another receiver that they haven't even had this year because he's been hurt. But it allowed them the opportunity to bring in Tevin Jones. And I don't know why Tevin Jones didn't have a contract somewhere in the offseason. Tevin Jones, he had 1,000 yards with the Riders, and then kind of fell out of favor there a little bit, and then sort of was nowhere, and then had to be on special teams in Edmonton for a while, and then eventually brought him in. And I would put the Elks receivers group up against any group in the Canadian Football League right now as well. So, the one area that's been much better than I thought, maybe this is where we can kind of discuss, their offensive line's been pretty good this year. I was a little concerned about their offensive line coming into the year, and they didn't make any significant changes. They've stayed healthy, which has helped, but they've been pretty good. And I mean, the offense it's not a fluke. Their offense is very good.
It's funny, we've talked about that a couple times on our show, how as an offensive line unit, you don't want to hear your name. The less you talk about the offensive line unit, the better off you are. Dusty, actually, it's funny. I just had a note in here from Matt Hyman. It might be better if the Lions beat the Argos tonight for the crossover, but that's another discussion for another day. And da. I know you're a busy man. I know you got to get down to the stadium. It is Friday the 13th. Today's
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, today's off-topic presented by William Huff, as per Reid, was favorite horror movie villains. And we've been all across the board. We've had quite a few submissions. I want to hear the boss, the man, the myth, the legend, the CEO of Edmonton Sports Talk. Who is your horror movie villain the best of all time? You
guys are gonna hate this, but I don't watch horror movies, man. Like I haven't even seen like the Jason movie. Like I haven't seen any of these. I don't do horror flicks. Like the scariest movie I've ever seen is I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, okay. That's okay.
Alien? The alien from Alien?
I've never seen Alien.
You've never seen any Alien film?
No.
What about Scar from The Lion King?
I gotta go.
I mean, he was a bad dude.
I gotta go.
Scar from The Lion King was an a-hole. Let's just be that. That's ridiculous. But yeah, like I don't watch. I mean, I guess I'm a scaredy cat. I don't watch scary movies. I got a couple buddies who used to go to like all the new horror movies that would come out. They'd be like, "You want to go?" I'm like, "No, of course I don't want to go. This is ridiculous." So I don't like scary movies, boys.
I'm in the same boat. As soon as Reid announced this topic, I said, "Well, I would never put myself in front of a horror movie on purpose, but I do recall like during the junior high days, when you'd go over to a house party and there'd be a horror movie on in the basement or whatever, So I did come across a couple, and It, the clown from It, is by far and away my number one.
Yeah, I never saw that one either.
I can lend you the Alien quadrilogy. I can lend it to you.
I didn't even know Alien was a horror flick until you brought it up.
It would be a monster. It's certainly a monster. The first Alien is quite tense, and then Aliens, directed by James Cameron, is more of an action movie. But the first Alien, the Ridley Scott directed Alien movie from 79 or 80, that's quite creepy. That's the one where the chest burster, you know what I'm talking about?
The only time I've ever seen something burst out of a chest was in Total Recall when Quato came out of the
Yes, Quato. Okay, that's good. You've redeemed yourself by mentioning Quato. Thank you. All right. I know you got to get to work. Thanks for hopping on the show. We'll do this when you're traveling around calling games, especially as we get into the stretch drive here. I'll see you Monday.
Yep, sounds good, boys. See you later.
All right, that's the boss. He's got the Nielsen Show 6 to 9 a.m. every day here, weekday here on Edmonton Sports Talk. So he has Lions home to the Argos tonight at 8, and then he's also calling the 5 o'clock game tomorrow, Montreal at Calgary. We previewed that game earlier this week with Justin Lawrence. It is go Als go for Elks fans. I mean, they always want Calgary to lose anyway, but especially this year, keep them behind.
Now looking at the schedule, though, with the comment that Matt Hyman made in the Nasty Chat, we can look into this after as we get into the final segment of the show, is a possible crossover. So tonight, I guess you just don't want to tie. I mean, if BC's
for Edmonton to get into the East
or another Western Conference team, could there be 4 Western Conference teams?
So if BC beats Toronto, that keeps Toronto at 5 wins. Edmonton is at 8. So if Edmonton, for some reason, can't make it in the West, if they finish outright ahead of the Argos, they'd get in the East.
There is
that's a good point. I hadn't even been thinking about the crossover.
It was looking like it was not an option for the longest time.
Well, when you're 0-7,
keep in mind, a lot of options. with the crossover, you have to beat there's not a tie.
It's not.
You have to beat their standings outright.
To cross over, you have to have at least one more point.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if Edmonton lost to Toronto by 3. If they were to beat Toronto by 4, the season series does not break the tie. You stay in your own division is the priority. That's a good text though from Matt Hyman. I wonder is that his real name or does he look just like Zach Hyman a lot?
Couldn't tell you. I'm assuming it's his real name. Just like everybody's name on here is
this
real.
Guy's real name is not the Coob. It's Zach Kubish, and he has a sports update.
Out in Penticton, it's the Oilers rookies set to meet with the Canucks rookies for the Young Stars Classic. Puck drop tonight goes at 8:30. Speaking about the West Coast, the Argonauts get set for kickoff against the Lions in BC Place. That's a lone game on the CFL slate tonight, and that goes at 8 o'clock. In the American game, 49ers superstar running back Christian McCaffrey is out this weekend for his club. He sat out last week as well and is considered to be placed on the injury reserve. Back in Canada, it's the Blue Jays up against the Cardinals, and they find themselves down 2-0 at the top of the first. In other baseball action right now, the Nationals lead 2-0 against the Marlins, while the Royals put up a 6 spot so far, just at the bottom of the second. 6-0 Royals up against the Pirates. On the other side of the break, Reid and Jay will get back to what to watch over the weekend. This sports update has been brought to you by Wheeler's RV Storage, conveniently located just 5 minutes east of St. Albert. Wheeler's RV is your safe and secure place to store your RV, boat, or whatever it is you want to store. Visit them at wheelersrvstorage.com to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months, get 1 free. Go to wheelersrvstorage.com today and get your storage needs taken care of. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your EST update.
If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to jameshbrown.com.
FuseSausage.com.
Fuse Sausage makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Get your 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in store at 6736 99th Street, or use the code EST when shopping online at fusesausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders over $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Fuse Sausage. You can't beat our meat.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
At A&W, you can start the morning off right with a regular coffee and an egger of your choice for just $4.99. Bacon and egger or sausage and egger on a seeded bun or an English muffin? The choice is yours. But we know it'll be tasty either way. And to make matters even more delicious, this offer is available all day. But don't snooze on this deal. An egger and a regular coffee for only $4.99 is a limited time price. Available at participating A&W restaurants in Greater Edmonton.
I think I yelled right over top of me. All right. Hope you're having a great Friday. We're with you until 6 o'clock going into the weekend here. The Oilers are at the tournament, the Young Stars Classic in Penticton, 8:30 game against the Canucks. Rookies tonight, Calgary tomorrow, Jets on Monday afternoon, and then training camp with the medicals and the physicals on Wednesday. On-ice sessions will begin on Thursday, so we'll be getting deeper into the Oilers chat, of course, here as we get through the fall. And the Elks have very meaningful games coming up, as we've been talking about, which is fun. Bye week this week. Home to Winnipeg next Saturday, at Winnipeg 2 weeks from today, and we'll have a watch party at Century Casino for that one. What to watch tonight or this weekend, whatever you're looking into. I think we got to discuss a little bit here, Jay, the Golden Bears football team. Disappointing, to say the least, performance 1 week ago against the Dinos. So the Golden Bears are 1-1. They are at Manitoba tomorrow afternoon at 1. The Bisons have started 2-0. The Bears, number 9 in U Sports rankings. Manitoba is 6. Expectations are higher for the Golden Bears football team. So we talk about these games with a little more seriousness now. It's, the goal for them is to win the league. They almost won the league last year. If you want to win the league, it's better to have a home game or two in the postseason. So I think this is an important bounce-back game tomorrow against Manitoba.
Well, and it depends what team shows up. I mean, there was not on the bingo card during the season for the Bears to lose 33-16 to the Dinos at their home opener.
Right.
Nor was it in the card for the Dinos to not score one single offensive touchdown that game, but rather to get all of their points off of pick sixes and field goals. So they've set themselves up for a little bit of an issue here because Manitoba's rolling. Manitoba is rolling. They are 2-0. Bears got to travel out there, play there. Manitoba has 70 points for, 34 points against.
Pretty good.
They score a lot and don't allow a lot. I mean, that is incredible. That's 17 points in 2 games, averaging 17 points, which that's pretty darn good. So, yes, that game is on tomorrow at 3 p.m. I will be watching
that. Is it at 3? I thought it was at 1.
Or is it 1?
No, we'll double check on the fly.
2 Central, whatever that is here.
That's 1 here.
1 here.
Yeah, they're an hour ahead.
So you can catch that game if you want to watch single games or whatnot. CanadaWest.tv actually does
all the stuff.
A pretty darn good job. So that's something to watch. But, I mean, we got to look at the NFL season, weekend schedule here coming up. I've highlighted a couple games that I think, might stand out. There's a divisional game in the NFC East between the Giants and the Commanders, but really, other than me, who cares? Hernan's 49ers are going to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. I'm interested to see this game. I want to see, are the Vikings for real? I mean, they did play the Giants, but Sam Darnold looked pretty darn good. Obviously, as Zach said, Christian McCaffrey is out for the second game in a row. Mm-hmm. I'm actually starting to wonder about this Christian McCaffrey because it was a Achilles issue, and they're afraid that any overuse might lead to a rupture. So I've heard it all from he'll be back next week or he might be put on the injured reserve. So interesting to see that game. Bucks at Lions. Tampa Bay is a decent team. Baker Mayfield has that offense churning, and the Lions are the Lions. I mean, the Lions they're good. Who I projected to come out of the NFC and win the Super Bowl. So that'll be a interesting matchup. Bengals at Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs looked terrible in their week 1 game against the Patriots. Now you're going to
Bengals. Yeah, the Bengals.
The Bengals did. Now you're going to Kansas City. This is a big AFC game. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And then the Sunday night game, Bears at Texans. 2 young quarterbacks. CJ Stroud takes on Caleb Williams and the Bears, who managed to pull out a week 1 victory, although they did not play that well.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting weekend. Did you see any that you could highlight and say?
Well, I mean, I'm a Seahawks fan, so Seahawks-Patriots is interesting. The Patriots aren't supposed to be very good, but they beat, the Bengals, who struggled and had some injuries. I'll just focus on, I think all the ones you mentioned are good storylines. Certainly the Lions, who, could be a top team, and we'll see if Tampa Bay can play well again. I always try to find a reason to watch the Sunday nighter. Bears-Texans. The Texans are an exciting team with Stroud, right?
Yeah.
And then I kind of want to see, are the Bears going to be a disaster? Because they kind of were a disaster in the first week, but they won. I mean, offensively, they were a disaster. I mean, they got a defensive touchdown. They got didn't they block a punt?
Block a punt, yeah.
Block a punt. Yeah. So I just, and there's always a lot of hype around the Bears because they're kind of a heritage, long-standing team. And they usually don't have good quarterbacks.
They've been terrible for a long time.
And it's interesting. The Bears often don't have a good quarterback, or at least somebody who stays good for a long time.
Yeah, I suppose Jay Cutler would have been their last relevant quarterback.
Yeah. Really. I mean, they had McMahon, right? When they were 15-1, won the Super Bowl. So I'll put Bears and Texans as my game for Sunday.
Well, Norman at Combine, noted Houston Texans fan, noted cheating Houston Astros fan.
Oh, my.
But you look at that Texans team. I mean, they added Stephon Diggs. They've got Joe Mixon, who ran the ball very well. Tank Dell, young CJ Stroud. This is a team that can turn some heads for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Back to the top villains in horror movies.
Okay, topic for William Huff.
We are getting a lot of late Candyman action.
Okay.
Candyman, just terrifying.
You've seen Candyman then?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I have not. Yeah, sounds too scary. And then didn't they? Well, they remade it in 2021.
Recently. They just they recently remade it. Same as Pennywise. I'm surprised we're not getting as much like Freddy Krueger or...
People have moved on.
I think so. Or Jason, Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
Well, a lot of those video games have came out, though. I think they moved from the movies to making a bunch of those video games because there's a Friday the 13th video game, and then Freddy Krueger is all over every single video game, like Mortal Kombat. I think probably in Call of Duty or something. But
what's yours, Dak? If you had to talk about the, I guess your most prolific or scary or noted horror movie villain / character.
Freddy Krueger always stood out to me, but I also appreciated in The Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter. Mm-hmm. Just his demeanor is so insane to me because I love The Silence of the Lambs. I think it's one of the best movies of all time. Top 10 for sure, maybe top 5. Hot take, I don't know. But yeah, just Hannibal Lecter freaked me out as a kid. And then I think the first time I watched the Freddy Krueger movie, it kept me up. And you guys mentioned Jeepers Creepers earlier as well.
Yeah.
That one. That
was the guy that flew, right? He also
turned out he could fly, yes.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And Texas
Justin Long
Chainsaw
was in that.
Massacre, too. That's another
That was
good one.
Leatherface,
That's
right?
Leatherface.
That was Leatherface,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
an iconic villain, and that one's been made and remade several times. Now, I'm going to throw in there quickly, because I recently watched this movie, the elderly woman in the movie X, and I will just leave it at there. People will respond if they've seen it.
X.
The elderly woman in the horror movie X.
Is that where she's sitting at the table describing like how her baby's going to die?
No.
No? Okay. Never mind.
What is that?
I don't know. I've seen this clip online, and it's like this woman that's sitting in like a cafe. She's an elderly lady, and there's all these flies buzzing around her. And then the server comes over and starts talking to her, and she's clearly pregnant. And the elderly lady just tells her that your baby's gonna die, and she gets all weird.
Was this a dream or a promo for a movie?
This is I've seen this. Somebody let me know. Help me out.
Elderly movie
with flies
elderly
buzzing
woman
around her in like a cafe.
Tells woman her baby will die. What a Google history I'm gonna have.
Yes. Matt Hyman says the hunter that shot Bambi's mom was Bambi. Yeah, it was shot. Yeah, Bambi's mom was shot, right? It wasn't a fire. Where was the forest fire in Bambi?
I thought it was a fire.
It didn't really show.
It's not a horror movie, though.
Yeah.
It's
Legion? Is that the movie? I don't know. All these babies are going to burn? That's not...
Yeah.
Joker? Yeah. That's not a horror movie.
No, it's not a horror movie.
Yeah.
I appreciate that people are submitting, but we kind of said horror movie monster or, villain or something like that. All right, 780-218-9999 is the EST inbox. Hopefully somebody can help identify Jay's movie. And if anybody knows what I'm talking about, the movie X, the elderly woman from X, they are probably gleefully writing in right now. We got the Coob with a sports update.
Travis Dermott has signed a professional tryout with the Edmonton Oilers. Drafted in the second round in 2015 by the Maple Leafs, the left shot D-man played for the aforementioned Leafs, Canucks, and most recently, the Coyotes. The rookies hit the ice tonight in Penticton. It's the Oilers taking on the Canucks for the start of the Young Stars Classic. That goes at 8:30. Wayne Simmons has been announced as the Philadelphia Flyers Community Relations Ambassador and Hockey Operations Consultant for the upcoming season. The former Flyer played 8 seasons for the team, recording 378 points in the uniform. Over in baseball, it's the Blue Jays against the Cardinals at the bottom of the second right now. It's 2-0 Cardinals. In other games right now, at the end of the third, the Royals are up 6-0 against the Pirates. The Nationals winning by a score of 2-0 at the bottom of the third. On the other side of the break, it's the final segment of the Reid Wilkins Show on this Friday edition, where Reid and Jay will get into some goof-ups and continue their conversations with the off-topic topic. Lining up some weekend games as well. This sports update has been brought to you by Sit and Sleep. The wait is over. Sit and Sleep is now open. Celebrate with over 20,000 square foot of savings on the trendiest furniture, home decor, and mattresses. Apply for your Sit and Sleep card today to make no payment for 18 months interest-free. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date.
Two guys and a goalie.
I don't mind analytics. I just don't like when people are like only analytics and only this, and they're like, oh, you can't do that, guy is, and so he's horrible. And I'm like, let's watch the tape, and then let's look at those analytics and say why some of that stuff happened before we make our decisions.
Cass is good in the sheets, the Excel spreadsheets.
I was going to say,
like
Cass, what do you think of analytics? By the way, this episode will be called Cassalytics. Hey, I think it's got to be.
Yeah. Two guys and a goalie with Gager, Cass Kassian and Nielsen, Tuesday and Thursdays at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Come get your game on at The Ranch. The Ranch lets it all hang out with a championship caliber design, premier conditions, and above all, a fun, laid-back experience. Get top-notch service and unmatched value every time you play at The Ranch. Think you have what it takes to go low? The best value for your golfing buck is always The Ranch. The Ranch Golf and Country Club. 10, 50, 100, and 200 round packs on sale. TheRanchGolf.com.
Celebrate the grand opening of Sit and Sleep and discover a revolutionary way to shop for mattresses. Stop in today for a free pressure point scan using cutting-edge technology so sleepologists can identify the perfect mattress for you. Right now, you'll get free local delivery on any mattress over $5.99 and receive a bamboo cooling mattress protector. Get grand opening savings now with every mattress on sale. Join us on location today for the celebrations at Sit and Sleep in South Common next to Planet Fitness.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key, influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the Association, Formula One, soccer, golf, oh sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.
All right, so of course, Travis Dermott confirmed by the Oilers. They finally announced it. What's been out there for a couple days. Travis Dermott, PTO, professional tryout agreement with the Oilers, so he'll be at camp. Mark Spector, within the last few minutes from Sportsnet, posting this on his Twitter account. Evander Kane is scheduled for surgery in the next 10 days or so to repair damage from the sports hernia he carried through last season. Post-surgery prognosis should shed light on the recovery period, and of course how the Oilers will approach their salary cap. So according to Mark Spector, Kane having surgery in the next 10 days or so, and then we'll see. That, of course, leaves the lingering question of should have this happened earlier in the offseason? And then, if he actually goes on long-term injured reserve, how long is he on there? Will it allow the Oilers to go out and acquire some other player and, the cap flexibility, all that kind of stuff? But there's a little more information. And, of course, Tom reported a couple days ago that Kane and Nurse, expected to miss. Well, with Nurse, maybe not getting into a preseason game until later on in the preseason and perhaps limited in what he can do because of a lingering injury from the playoffs. And then if Kane has surgery on this sports hernia, then we'll see. We'll see.
With post-surgery physical therapy and rehabilitation, people with a sports hernia can usually fully return to their sport or activities between 6 and 12 weeks. In some cases, the affected tissue can tear again once you return to sports activity. That is from, just Googled it, it's from the Cleveland Clinic. But I mean, that's should be what Oilers fans would expect. 6 to 12 weeks is the normal, and assuming that's what the injury is a sports hernia,
which is what we talked about last year too.
What everybody thought it was going to be. So, looks like put goals in.
There's someone with an opportunity for sure.
For some time. So,
I guess Christmas then, worst case scenario. And again, long-term injured reserve isn't a get-out-of-free card. If he comes back, you have to have room for him to be back and fit under the cap if he comes back halfway through the season, hypothetically.
Yeah, it's obviously not ideal. The ideal situation would be to have Evander Kane in the starting lineup.
Yes,
come week one
and healthy, which he wasn't last year because when he played, he wasn't overly effective, and then we didn't see him play in some very important games, right? But anyway, there's a little bit there. I'm sure there'll be more information as we get closer to camp. We'll hear from Stan Bowman next week. We'll hear from Chris Knobloch. So they'll probably have more official details in terms of what's going on.
I'm sure more will come out as Enrico. We don't know. We don't know if that's on his hip or hernia or both.
Well, he said sports hernia.
That was last year's injury. That's what he had throughout the end of the regular season and through the playoffs. Reid, that movie is Legion.
Okay.
Good to hear you on the radio, Jay. I went to university with your wife and met you a couple times there. Shane the rancher.
Oh, do you know Shane?
I'm racking my brain. I'm sure. I'm a face. I never forget a face. I have the weirdest, most uncanny neck that if I went to kindergarten with you and I see you, I will remember you by your face. So thanks for listening, Shane. And Legion, is it as terrifying as that clip would suggest? With the old lady that said all the babies are going to die.
Is that the one with Paul Bettany?
Well, Reid, if I knew who Paul Bettany was, I could certainly answer that
Paul
for
Bettany was Vision in the Avengers movie. He was one of the imaginary. He was one of the imaginary people in A Beautiful Mind.
Oh.
He's Jennifer Connelly's husband. Paul Bettany. He's been in a lot of stuff.
I'll pull him up.
I can't remember everything. That's okay. I'm a weirdo.
No, you're not. Don't say that. You have to have other people say that.
Yes, well, that's fine as well. It is. It's interesting you mentioned. Is it Podkolzin who benefits most from Kane not being around? Potentially, that opens up a spot there. Just looking at the roster to see if I'm forgetting anybody. I mean, you got massive assumptions here with the lines. McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, and Hyman. Incredible line.
How could you even think of changing that, right?
So, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Skinner, Janmark, Brown, who am I missing? Oh, Henrique.
Where's Henrique? Yeah.
Ryan. That leaves Derek Ryan. Perry.
Corey Perry. There you go. And
Podkolzin coming into that spot. But if Kane's healthy, he's not playing on the fourth line either.
So, right there, that's a lineup you can start. That's a lineup you can go to work with. I mean, to be seen how Podkolzin comes in and plays.
Right. And then, yeah. Just trying to look at the roster here to make sure I'm not missing anybody significant. Yeah, I mean, I guess then it'd be a little more urgent for Podkolzin to perform well. But then so maybe we're making an incorrect assumption that line will be able to be together of Brown, Henrique, and Janmark.
Why is that an unfair assumption?
Well, because when Kane's able to play, you don't play him with Derek Ryan and Corey Perry necessarily, do you? He's a better player than that.
Yeah, but that's where you now have the flexibility to move through those like the top two lines.
They're going to move around.
But there's still question marks there, right? There still is question marks there with Arvidsson and Skinner as to how that line is going to perform with Leon at center.
Right.
But it certainly would be nice to have some movement and flexibility in those so you can play and tinker with that. I mean, the number one line is set in stone. The number one,
I would hope, as close
power
as
play
possible.
is set in stone.
Well, the power play for sure.
Right?
They never come off.
Good. They shouldn't. Kamloops J says, I bet you Dylan Holloway is kicking himself now, knowing that Kane is going to be out and it could have been his time to shine.
Well, that would have been the obvious one, right? Oh, we don't have Kane? Well, we have Holloway. There's a chance for him to go. And then plus, if Holloway is not playing well, he's still a younger player. If he's on a line with Derek Ryan and Corey Perry, okay, he's still playing. Whereas I think Kane would, in that situation, would feel this is not where I belong. And I think he kind of indicated that a couple of times last year under both coaches. when he didn't feel like he was being used how he thought he was going to be used.
But it's interesting. I mean, it's now happening. The question marks were up. What's up with Evander Kane?
We're getting more and more Oilers stuff to talk about, which is fun. And I really think Travis Dermott has a shot. Well, I mean, look, Gagne and Ernie were in on PTOs last year, and they eventually got NHL games. So it's not like PTO players have never stuck with the Oilers recently since they've been a better team or wound up on the Oilers.
Well, and it was interesting to hear Matt McConnell, a play-by-play voice for the Utah Hockey Club, when interviewing him earlier in the show, that he said specifically that this is a type of player that plays better in a depth role down the lineup,
right?
And that this could be quite a nice transaction for the Oilers, and that's somebody who's been up close and personal to this player in recent years. So,
well, I guess, and it sounds like he can at least play the right side to some extent. So maybe, I guess he's probably it might be a 4-man competition for 2 spots. Emberson, Stetcher, Josh Brown, and Travis Dermott. And I will maybe throw Philip Kemps into this mix as a bit of a wild card because I think he's been pretty good with the Condors. And he's been percolating there for a while. When did they draft Philip Kemp? He's been around for several years now. So it's just the Oilers are going from Philip Kemp was 208th overall, 7th round in 2017. So he's already 25. What did he have last year? Oh, yeah, and he played a game with the Oilers. I forgot that. He got into a game. He had 15 points in 64 games. He didn't. Was it the game in Montreal? And I think he actually played forward a couple of shifts. He didn't play much. But the thing here for the Oilers is, and I know a lot of people didn't like Cody Ceci, but he's an experienced player. He has experience. And then Broberg was an up-and-coming player. So now you're going with players who are either lacking experience or perhaps have peaked already and are trying to hang on a little bit, like Brown and perhaps even Dermott. Emberson is up and coming, but he's not like a hot prospect to be a top 4 defenseman. And Stetcher is who he is. I think he tries really hard, but he's probably a 3rd pairing guy. I just think on the right side, I don't know if they're going to have a true 2nd pairing guy. They might have 2 3rd pairing guys.
But do you not think it's better to have an like with Ceci? That was his ceiling, right?
Right, but I still think
is Ceci going to turn into an NHL, a top 2 pairing defenseman?
No, but I don't think Emberson will either. Stetcher certainly won't. Brown certainly won't, and Dermott certainly won't.
I don't know if you can say that about the younger guys.
Downgraded. Well, Emberson's the only guy who's really a younger guy in that group.
Could be the potential for upside there, right?
Well, yeah, but I just think
that's the optimist in me here, Reid.
Well, you are being extremely optimistic. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that I think there will be some growing pains on that side of the defense and some things to shuffle through and find order for.
Yeah, I just zero depth for skilled defense, And I mean, the question is, who could they actually go out and try and approach?
Well, no, that's why they brought in Travis Dermott. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they got to go out and make a big splashy trade or whatever. I'm just saying that is, if there's a hole on the team, that's it right now. Right side, 2nd and 3rd defenseman. Emberson's 24. Oh, he played Wisconsin, played in the AHL, and he's only got into 30 games with the Sharks.
Yeah.
Apparently he did well. They were a really bad team.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves. These teams are letting go of these players for a reason, right? The only hope you have with both of these players that are coming in, while Emberson was part of a trade, but with this PTO is that you try and find something or get something out of them that no other staffs have been able to, right?
Right. And I know Drew said earlier this week, well, the Sharks wanted to get older and bring in some veterans who were a little bit steadier, so that's why I identified Cody Ceci. But yet they were still willing to trade Ty Emberson to get that. If they saw him as an absolute building block, they wouldn't have traded him.
I agree.
For anything. So that's why I'm saying there are question marks about a lot of the players I brought up there competing for spots on the right side. Or maybe Dermott's going to be depth on the left side, or maybe he'll be nothing. We don't know. All right. But yeah, so Kane, according to Mark Spector from Sportsnet, expected to have sports hernia surgery in the next 10 days or so. All right. It is goof ups. I must have made some, but I forgot to write them down. I guess that's my goof up.
That would be a goof up. Yeah. I don't
self-referential goof up.
I don't know that Coob. Did you note anything on good old Reidster here?
On Reid? No. I think he was pretty good. I had one that I thought.
I called Dustin Nielsen Justin Nelson.
But that wasn't on purpose.
No, how do you know? How do you know?
How do you know?
Yeah, you might have misread the page. Right?
One will never know.
Him. You
One will never
met him
know.
Before.
What were your goof ups, Coob?
Reading the sports updates at the bottom of the hour. It's supposed to be the other way around.
Yes.
Supposed to go break first, and then I come back, do that. No, I pronounced the names pretty decently today.
You did well. Yep. You did very well. I introduced a great interview that we had with Matt McConnell from the Utah Hockey Club after reading about Caster 99's comments about Poltergeist, saying that the kids on that the two little girls that were in that movie essentially had some bad luck back in the day, and that was an awkward way to start that interview, and then didn't know this Legion movie, which
was okay. That was spur of the moment.
I know,
and I still think thinking Linda Blair was dead.
Yes, that's right. I got that. Kate, so what movie did I say? The Poltergeist was where it happened. I was thinking
of The Exorcist with Linda Blair, who is 65 years of age and going strong.
And still kicking.
Yes.
Linda Blair, if you were out there.
We apologize.
My sincerest apologies to you and your family who briefly may have thought that something happened to their grandmother.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. The Elks call coming up next on Edmonton Sports Talk. MCTV will be on at 7 tomorrow. The Pipeline Show is at noon. Gridiron will be at 2 p.m. So there's stuff here to check out over the weekend. And, of course, Dustin will be back with the Nielsen Show Monday at 6. We are back with the Reid Wilkins Show on Monday at 3 p.m. Zachary Kubish, your technical producer this afternoon. On behalf of Jay Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend.